okay. It was just I felt that at that part, but then like when the weekends would come in, those parties were like parties. So I guess I shouldn't have been. I was trying to do the Austin thing where you party during the day or during the
The
week.
domain where you can pay the same as a mortgage, but you get none of the space. You know,
You get the shops.
yeah,
Honestly, I
right.
thought
It's for younger people or people that don't necessarily. I feel like you don't have a lot of families living in the domain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I
I
get.
feel like it's more of.
I mean, there are families there, but they don't leave the apartments. Before COVID, and they just stay there. I was there enough where I started catching the patterns of people. But let's get started. Since the domain was a while back, and we were talking about something from a while back. We have a lot to talk about today. A lot to discuss.
Really do, man.
So first we have to dance it out because we got the intro music playing.
Hey.
Here we go. It grows on you once you watch it a few episodes in a row.
It does. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hola.
Hello. I don't know. I'm not very fluent in any other language besides.
Well, they can't see me, but I'm waving, so that's another form of hi.
You can't.
Oh,
see
he
me,
gave you a good one. He gave
Um,
what is that? What is that? Yeah, he gave me
got the
the
bird right here.
the bird.
Dude, the other day,
Well-
remember whenever I said I had to go to work early in the morning?
Yeah.
And I got there, and anyway, like I got everything set up, and it looked real nice. And well, they told me it looked real nice. I was like, it looks like normal, I guess. And anyway, one of the guys, one of the cutters, he's like, hey, Ben's here in the morning. Looks great. He did a great job on his shift. Let's give him a round of applause. And they all clapped, and I just was looking around like, fuck y'all. Like.
Oh,
I was just like, I told somebody later, I was like, I never wanted to flip off an entire group of people more than just now, but I refrained.
I will say that, and I know you're an actor, but can you do it one more time? Because you did pretty badass. That does look like that's like a meme right there. that's a meme, right? Because like mine looks kind of goofy. My hand's broken, and it doesn't. You see how like it doesn't work. I got big hands, but they doesn't look that cool.
I got the short, squatty hand.
So
I
it's
can
like
put the thumb out if I want. But see, that's the crazy thing. Like my index finger, it won't go any further down like naturally. I got to pull it if I want it to go any further down.
pull my finger. Yeah.
Mike Judge. Speaking of Mike Judge, Richard Linklater.
Yes, the other Mike Judge, the original Mike Judge. No, I'm playing. They're all original. They're all there. So hello, welcome to Side by Side. I don't know what we're cutting in, but we just danced. We're talking. Side by Side is
flipping you off. We're having a great time.
Yeah, thank you. So by this episode, season 2, midway point, you know what you're getting. You're definitely getting spoilers. And today's spoilers, we're doing 2 movies, made by a certain Austin guy. And I will say that maybe he is the reason why the independent film market blossomed. I don't know. Maybe there's other people, and I'm just focusing on him because he's from the same turf that I'm from, the mismo tierra. So I would like to. You want to introduce our guest today?
Yes. So our guest today is going to be director Richard Linklater. All right. Most if anybody is unfamiliar, most notable movie probably to date is going to be Dazed and Confused, or possibly School of Rock.
You know what?
A lot of people forget that he directed that. It's not one of his like normal Richard Linklater movies. It's a fun, just like goofy movie. Oh, no pun intended there. But yeah, man. I didn't even realize that at the time, but it's Richard Linklater, he is a very diverse filmmaker. He does not have you'll get a lot of different films from him. He's not to shit on Martin Scorsese, but Scorsese, you're going to get like a
mob. You're gonna get more
mob
of that
film.
mob feel, East
or
Coast
that
Jersey kind of feel to
that
it.
gangster feeling, whether you're actually dealing with gangsters or you have a Wolf of Wall Street type character. Richard Linklater is just all over the place. Now he definitely has a voice. Like you can tell if you're watching one of his films that is kind of like, say, like a Scanner Darkly, I mean, the dialogue in his movies, that's really where you can kind of tell his movies apart from other directors. Dazed and Confused, a lot of dialogue in there, a lot of commentary on what's going on in the world, um, or what was going on in the world, because that was set in the 70s. One of my favorite lines in that movie is whenever they're getting out of school and that teacher's like, and remember, you're celebrating that a bunch of rich white men didn't want to pay their taxes, so when
Dude,
you're
you can
listening, like, and it's funny, they boil it down to those simplistic terms that are very profound at the same time.
Yeah, his what I can tell is one thing I got from Richard Linklater is that he is a cinema artist.
Yeah,
Dude, because
he's a filmmaker.
He's a filmmaker, and I'm reading about him. He's actually, I want to start taking side by side another little bit more serious, a little bit more on like. I did more research on Richard Linklater, and I was just like, I already knew enough, but I got to kind of retouch that subject about like how he started. And man, it's just like, dude, Texas made, Texas grown. We're here. Refuses to work in Hollywood. There's a reason why,
Yeah.
Other than like whatever you read around, it's just working with people over there, like maybe it's a difficult thing.
Maybe he was kind of like you, went out, did it for a minute, and came on back. It just wasn't what he did. I don't know. I feel like you have done a little bit more research on it. So,
well, I mean, you're right. Exactly I went out there and a year of like, okay, this is the bullshit that we got to, all right, well, I'm going to go back home. Let me go back where I know familiarity. I mean, basically I was there for solid like 8 months straight. And then I started visiting Austin again. And there was a part, and this is what I love about these movies, because this is a time capsule movie. And the movie we're talking about, or the two movies we're talking about, is 1990s Slacker, rated R, 137 minutes. I'm about to get, this is the first time I'm going to get upset because it says here a comedy drama. Now, I'm not getting upset because it's not a comedy, but they didn't have anything for it back then. This is like the first of its kind.
Yeah.
And this was released July 5th, 1991. So this movie took some time. It's a day in the life of Austin, Texas, as a camera roams from place to place and provides a brief look at the overeducated, the social misfits, the outcasts, and the oddballs. Director Richard Linklater. If you go to the Wikipedia real quick, I just love seeing this. Directed by Richard Linklater. Produced by Richard Linklater. Written by Richard Linklater. Starring Richard Linklater. This is what we're going. I'm like, he just did it himself. I like to be a guy that just does it on my own, and I don't mind helping. I don't like working with people. I like a team. I understand. I play basketball, so it's not an individual sport. It takes a team. I still play basketball. I still love it. So I've learned to use a lot of the things I've learned from sports as a child to work as an adult to help me out to work with other people. That being said, we now also did as 2006 a Scanner Darkly, rated R, 140 minutes, animation crime drama, released July 28th, 2006. An undercover cop in a not too distant future becomes involved with a dangerous new drug and begins to lose his own identity as a result. Director Richard Linklater. Writers, the novel is Philip K. Dick, but the screenplay is Richard Linklater. So he basically read this book and then made a movie on it. We're going to talk about Slacker.
Dude, did you know that he directed Bad News Bears with Billy Bob Thornton too?
I did, but I forgot.
I mean,
dude,
just
look at his look. He's done a lot. It's like he's been underground this whole time. Like, not even underground. He's been right in our face. Like, there's a lot of things I want to bring. I got, even the way I took my notes, like for Slacker, they're not the original way I take my notes. I'm literally all over the place.
Dude, I just wrote down a bunch of questions. Like I literally had questions that I wanted to go over. Now, A Scanner Darkly, with Slacker, I felt like it was more of a listening movie, where you could just kind of listen, and obviously you need to pay attention to what's going on too. But I felt like, okay, I could take a note here and, look down for a minute. Now with A Scanner Darkly, I felt like I needed to have my eyes glued to that TV because there was just so much going on, and the rotoscoping is just phenomenal.
We'll get to that, man, dude. We'll get to that, dude. That's insane.
Like I said, I'll say it again later when we get to it, that it's just great. But yes, so Slacker, man, it starts off with just with Richard Linklater. And he starts it off. He sets the tone for the movie right away. You know, you get that slow drive in on a bus, gets into a taxi and just starts rambling. You know, just starts talking to some taxi driver about alternate realities and, oh, if I'm dreaming this and dreaming that, which is funny because I haven't seen this movie, but I have had that thought as well.
You've never seen this movie?
No,
Awesome.
I have not seen either one of these movies.
Okay, give it to me, baby. Give it to me.
So I had that thought about like, what if you were dreaming another version of yourself, you know, stuff like that. You know, it just kind of getting into that whole theory. And I was actually thinking the other day, like, you know, I even mentioned this to somebody. I was like, you know, every second that you choose to do something else, you know, then your realities are just splitting, and then you're doing something else here, and then you made this decision over here, you know, because you're constantly making decisions, whether you know it or not. Like, okay, I went left instead of right, you know, didn't really think about it, but you're just like, you know, split decision. Oh, hey, that's where you get it. Split decision. You're splitting the realities right there. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. The first question I had though was, did that guy just run over his mother?
Yes.
And then did Richard Linklater steal her purse and just take off?
No, the other guy did.
Are you sure that wasn't Richard Linklater?
Man, I saw somebody take something. I thought it was the other guy. No, you're right. I got to go back and look at it. I was looking at, because I did focus on him because, like you said, like you basically, the context of this film and the way they shot it, there is no real story, but there are so many stories in what, like, there's no, what I'm trying to say is there's no like protagonist, antagonist. There's no setup. It's a story amongst stories about time. And Richard Linklater, the beginning portion of him talking, that's basically the story that you're about to see. He's setting that up for you. And I didn't catch it till now. And I've seen this movie, I don't know how many times. I watch it more now that I appreciate all the things that are gone. The thing I do love, I don't know where I'm on my head right now. I'm having it playing in the background. I'm just looking at it. I'm going to watch this movie a lot more now because everything's different. But I still remember all that because I walked through all that stuff. I hung out there. I did basically what this movie is doing. It's showing you what we did here in Austin, and what we used to. I don't know how it is now, but because you know, pandemic shut down. I don't. It's all different now. I mean, the buildings are different. West Campus this movie was shot on West Campus, which it looks like there's like the brick. There's all the feeling, that old feeling. West Campus is on the west, or I don't know, it's on the west side of I-35, but close. It's on the University of Texas campus. And now the campus looks like a little city. Everything has like little shops. Everything has an apartment on top. Everything's a retail store on the bottom and apartments on top. They just closed down the Ritz today. What are they gonna do in downtown Austin? Are they gonna make apartment complex with retail shops at the bottom? I'm pretty sure they are. I would love that if the Ritz had if they whatever they make it into is something film related, because you know the souls of those movies were played there for so long, you know.
Yeah, I think with Austin and the film industry, I think Joe Rogan, man, he's going to have a big effect on that, especially the comedy scene too. Just listen to his podcast recently.
I haven't.
He is, I feel like he is going to really have a hand in the comedy scene in Austin from here on out. He is going to try to make it a boom town as far as that's concerned. And I'm not mad about it.
Oh, no, I'm not all mad at all. I don't want to say bad. This is a podcast. I don't want to talk anything bad about Joe Rogan. So I love the guy. Listen to him. So him coming over here, I just see it as, what I'm trying to say is I don't want to say something and it comes off as bad. So, so what I'll say is him coming from over here, I just basically look at it as he was tired of all they were paying like, I don't know, what 50% tax. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm keep in mind, I don't pay attention to any of this stuff. So anybody listening to me, good luck trying to hold me against this shit. I don't know. I just hear stuff and it's a blimp in my head. But it's like something about talking to a friend of mine that I was like, how much? Like, I go, you pay like that high? And like, yeah, damn near that much. You know, my friend that was in Austin moved to California for like 10 years and now it's back in Austin. And I talked to him and you know, it's like that's a lot, dude. Imagine every dollar you make, you only get 50 cents of that. That doesn't make any sense to me. So him coming over here is good with it. So no one to tell him you can't do this, you can't. We let you here in Texas, you know. I mean, we accepted everybody coming here, so it's not like we're like, no, you can't be here, you need to leave. Huh? I mean, I'm cool with it, dude. And this is what I love about this movie. because Austin for a long time, and you talk to older cats, and I'm in that division now, so I'm getting there. So I used to say, because a big deal with me is living in Austin, and at a very young age, this is why I have a lot of border pride and where I'm from, because I'd be talking to people in Austin, they'd be like, dude, where are you from? What part of Austin are you from? The South, the kids, I have a friend, Rada. He's my like my one of my closest cousins' best friend, but I met him when we were 19. He's born and raised Austin. He went to school at Aikens. So when I met him they were going to UT. We just graduated high school, and I was coming up to Austin all the time, hanging out. So I'd hang out with him, spend a lot of time with him. He's my son's godfather at this point, you know. So we spent a lot of time with each other. So I was hanging out with all the friends that went to Aikens. So for a long time, everybody thought I went to Aikens. So they'd be like, hey, aren't you that guy that went to Aikens? Like, no, I'm not. I'm from the border. They'd be like, no, that guy. And then finally I'd be like, yeah, I'm from Aikens. But there were some times where people would be like, oh, you look, I would say that Aikens thing. And then people would be like, no, you're not. Where you from? I go, no, I'm from the border. And they'd be like, what? You're from the valley? But no, I'm not from the border. I mean, I'm not from the valley. I'm from the border. I can read. It's not very well. But joking, everybody from the valley. Just talking smack. But just joking around. That's a 40-year-old joke. But what do you call it? I would tell people like, yeah, I'm from the border. Like, oh wow, and I didn't know that maybe I'm different. I never put that in my head. Like I was like, okay, and they started seeing it more and more. And then when I go home, I'd be like, well, I'm home, you know, but it's not like Austin. So you know, you could act a certain way in Austin, and you come back or wherever, you know, wherever you go back home, it's different. But you know, things don't change. So with the influx of people moving to Austin, I think maybe it is time for change. Maybe it's time for. And the only reason I'm getting this conclusion is because like, when you see this movie and you see the way people are, like we used to do that a lot. I fell into that trend of just like, you see a stranger, you lock eyes, you smile, you go talk to him, you know. And that guy, I'm on that scene right here with that dude, the conspiracy theory guy, that guy's just walking and he just starts talking to him. That guy, I'm trying to remember. I looked him up earlier too. I know one of my first movies that I did in Austin, he was on the set, but I wasn't on the set though. Like I was there, I got the briefing or whatever, and I had to go do my PA work outside. And or like grab stuff, and I was like, that guy, I seen him, like I know him from something. I was like, that the guy from Slacker? And they're like, yeah, that's the guy. And the way dude, when I moved to Austin, like you go those I love that scene where the dude just hit his mom, and that story, that's what I'm saying. There's a whole story in there. That guy hits his mom, goes to this circle, goes into his room, and then all the cops call him, I guess, and says,
I don't know if it was the cops, but why it just happened so fast, man. Like the cops were there and like, we're here to arrest you for running over your mom. And I was like, how did they know?
That was so fast, right? But I mean, it's a story. But you know, but that guy's room, he got taken by the cops. It's him, right? And his room's available or something like that. So that guy just moves into his place like nothing. You want his room? Yeah, sure. Friendly, man. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is like, that was what I did love about West Campus back then, dude. You just like, you know, I literally would walk to like my cousin to class, and he'd go to class. I was like, well, I ain't got nothing to do, so I'm gonna go walk around. So I did walk around Austin, and you see like just somebody in like late 30s or whatever, 40s, whatever age. You know, they're smoking a doobie, drinking a beer, and they're like, yo, what are you up to, man? You wanna hang out? I'd be like, well, I don't smoke, but I'll have a beer with you. Well, I'll go, you know, just hang out, just shooting the shit. And people just talking about random stuff, you know, not really focusing on, I guess, society that's around you, because it doesn't really get you. So you're trying to figure out what gets you, and the only thing you have are the people. So that's why this new breed of Austin is kind of funny. Like when people from Texas, like that I grew up with, or they tell me like, oh, I hate Austin. And I'm like, well, why do you hate it? The traffic. I'm like, okay, something else. Like there's something else. It's the stupid posts online I'm catching on that people don't like people that move to Austin. I'm like, that's just that person individual online. Yeah. Like the city itself isn't like that. But I like feel like over time, if you have that many individuals, because there's a place you need to flock. Think about it. Like, dude, I think about, this is what I think about. I was like, it's hard to fit in sometimes. Like I was raised around Catholic Mexicans. I'm Mexican and I'm not Catholic. And to kind of go around, like I was raised Baptist, if anything. I went to the white church, you know, if you count me going there. I didn't care. You know, you go to Catholic church, you got that judgment, and I don't have any resentment or anything. It's just, you know, I'm a little kid and you're talking crap to me. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, it's kind of like, well, where do I go? Where are the people like me? And then this is, you come to Austin and you get that feeling that it's okay. We don't understand what's going on with you, but you're here. You know, I always think about it as a mental health. Maybe some people, you know, everybody has mental health, and some people that are open about it, and some people that want something to get judged too. So they want to go somewhere where they can feel free, be themselves. And this city has that soul there. I don't know where it's going now, but back then this is what it lingered, you know, in the 2000s. We had a lot of this still. There was a lot of this going on. in the 2000s, and I guess just the tech moving in.
Yeah,
you know.
and then you lose a lot of that face-to-face interaction, and whenever you get away from the face-to-face interaction, you are able to dissociate from actually being a person, and actually I'm talking to a human being, like I'm talking to somebody like myself, and you're always on the attack whenever you're commenting, kind of like what you were talking about earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
you're always on the defensive because you think everybody's against you, or you get into that mindset that everybody's against you, or if somebody doesn't agree with you completely, then oh yeah, they're against me. They don't look at similarities. They're only looking at differences online. Whereas
Yeah.
whenever you're face to face, you want to connect with people. You want to have a conversation with somebody, and then you can determine after that whether you want to continue having a conversation. Like there's been plenty of times where I meet people or I work with people, and you're like, all right, this guy's pretty cool. This person's pretty cool, and then you get outside of work and you actually have a real conversation. And you're like, this person's fucking crazy, and that's fine. That's fine. It's not that I don't. But see, me personally, I always like listening to those people too. Like I like listening to people and getting their opinions on things. Having different perspectives on things is not necessarily a terrible thing. Should it change your perspective on things? No, but getting a feel of what other people are thinking can help you navigate the world. You can help you navigate people as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. Because
but yeah, no. What were you gonna say?
No, because what you just said right there, dude. Like you can navigate through people, but I'm not gonna listen to somebody that hasn't experienced anything, or I'm not gonna listen to somebody that's only experienced the bad thing or the good thing of something. I'm gonna go make my own. There's a part in here that I took out for real. I mean, that I took out that just hit me so real. What this girl says, because they're all names. Like, that's one thing I do love about this movie.
Yeah,
the names.
Roadkill was my favorite.
Roadkill, yeah, and they're in order too. Yeah. The Hit and Run Son. Mm-hmm. Jogger, roadkill, taxi driver should have stayed at the bus station. Now, when I heard that the first time, I had to go re-listen to it because my brain kind of went all over it. But he was right. Should have stayed at the bus station because he would have met a girl. But we don't know what time. So what he was saying was that's so true about like this is so crazy. Like society moves, and we all have collective thinking. So I feel like that's why you get this mob mentality. But it's not whatever. So where society is going this way, and there's a split decision. Well, just because half of the decision goes this way, there's still that other division that still exists. Even though society's going this way, it doesn't mean that this doesn't exist. This is a glimpse of them. He's saying like, this is that part. One thing I do want to say, this is for other people that watch this movie. At this point, it is a timepiece movie, and it is I was reading that it is actually it's protected. I can't remember where I found it, but it's a protected movie. Like you can't. It's
like in the institute, like AFI or something like that.
Yeah, some one of those institutes. So I will say, as I'm just gonna throw it out there, as a minority watching this movie, there is only white people in this movie. There are 2 colored people, so that I count so far. It was the taxi driver and the black guy.
I don't want to correct you there, but maybe people of color.
Well, I'm saying I will say PC already. But what I'm trying to say is like don't push this off if you're someone like you should watch this movie. Don't just a bunch because
it's not about how the people look. It's about what they're talking about.
Yes,
and that's what I mean. Like I said, that's what I was getting at earlier. With this could be a movie that you listen to instead of necessarily watching. Now there is there are visual aspects to it, like oh man, that scene where the old anarchist is walking around with that guy who's robbing him, and they show you the building or the Capitol building and then the clock tower. Like, dude, that is a fantastic shot, and like you're right in the middle of those 2 buildings, and it's just like it's beautiful.
I kept rewinding it till I realized. So it took me about 6 times so I realized where they were. Then once I pinpointed where they're at, I was like, oh, that doesn't exist right there. It's like it's like where now it's crowded.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I was
now
thinking maybe it was like the an
view.
edited shot. Yeah, okay.
No, the view doesn't exist right now. So I was like, oh. But the reason not the light jogging. The reason I brought that up was because I know there are some people that would look at this movie like Slacker, which is it's just a bunch of rich kids that basically it's suburb kids that live in the city, and the city's not gentrified yet. Now the city's gentrified. So basically these are the parents. in the 90s, these are the parents of the kids that are adults now that are trying to make Austin this tech. This is what happens. Now, there's a reason why I'm bringing that up, because back in the day, we just talked. You know, and there's a big reason why I chose Austin. I fell into Austin. I mean, I love that the pap smear pusher, like she's called, what's her name? Which I found out she is
Butthole Surfers.
Yes, I was like, this girl, she's on the like the cover.
Yeah, and that's her in the background. Like,
yeah, and then on iHeart Videos on Airport, that when that existed, there's a huge. I mean, for like 30 years, 20 years, she was what do you call it? She was there. Like, she was just the picture of her. What's her name? Teresa Taylor was her last name? Yeah. Teresa Taylor, pap smear pusher. Dude, she for me, that's an iconic image of hers. Of her. She's older now. She's, I think, from San Antonio, which I really was like, hell yeah. You know, someone from well, not my neck of the woods, but close to my neck of the woods. But you know, like, that's the thing I'm watching. That's where I'm at right now in the movie, and that's where I'm like loving that that the way that they're just talk. We just talk. You know, back I chose Austin because, and I started off in San Marcos, but I was always here. But because, you know, I go to Dallas. It's like what I took it as an entertainment thing. Actually, that's what my mindset went. Houston was more urban, so you're getting more of, if you want to go rap, you would go there. Yeah. Dallas was more model and chic and all that. So if you want to be stuck up, you go to Dallas. Sorry, that's how it was back then.
No, I'm in Plano, so you're good.
Yeah, so if you wanted to go in what do you call it? I mean, this is back then. This is back then when I was 2003 when I left, or you know, 4. But this is when what do you call it? You go to San Antonio, you wanted culture and art. That's what you really found, you know. And in Austin, kind of was the movie guy, and kind of was where all the personalities kind of got together. So I was very used to, plus coming from, like, I don't want to say a mixed family, but just Latinos that we're all shaded different, having seen that kind of thing, and then coming to Austin and then seeing all the personalities mixed was what really kept me here. And the fact that you could have an awkward conversation and offend somebody. And I was like, I wasn't trying to, I'm gonna just keep talking. If you want to keep talking, great. If not. But one thing that really got me was, and I'll say this, and I hope the person that would tell this to me, he knows what he would say to me. So I want to go hang out. You know, dude, the gay culture hanging out back then, now as intellects, man, they're real snobby back then, dude. Because Austin was like, dude, as educated, UT's here, you had a lot of educated people walking around. Yeah, now I think about it. Yeah, you might have not been working, or maybe not been working with someone else was doing, but you were making a living, and you see all the panhandling we do here. You know what they did, you know. But oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was just focusing on that. What was I saying? I'm so sorry.
You were talking about education.
Yeah, so the education. Sorry, it's because I said earlier, just the brown guy and then the black guy, and then I'm on that scene. I'm like, but the guy's like talking about, like, he's talking about a movement. He's talking about something, but he's also trying to sell stuff. So that's just how it was here. And you know, we would have these conversations with people. And my friend would say, when someone would have a really like intellectual conversation, I couldn't keep up with it. So I'd be like, oh, I can say something here, and then everybody'd be like, no, or be like, no, we don't think so. So like, kind of in the Facebook trend where everyone's talking in the group, and then you say something and they're like, no. My friend would always comment, or my friend would always say, just sit there and look pretty. That's all we have you here for. Just sit there. And when you hear that a lot, you're like, nah, F that. I'm gonna educate myself in this. And that's what I did. I just started reading the same books they're reading. And then I realized, oh man, like, I'm gonna go read my own stuff. You know, but it was because you know, I'm joking on the gay culture like that, because that was where I got my startup with a lot of people talking about different topics. Yeah. You know, like, I wasn't going to talk about sleeping around with, you know, or like, you know, hooking up. It was just, we could have a conversation about whatever, because I wasn't part of that. I could talk about other things. And that was cool. Like, I like seeing that. This guy right here, the guy talking about going to the third world countries, like, he has a good point about it. Like, he does. He goes, I just got sick, and then I came back, and I don't even know if that was a good memory or not. Like, basically that's what he's saying. And because at that, I mean, everyone's telling you, go visit another country. You go, this is what I'm saying for pioneer movies. Sorry, I'm talking really fast. I'm really excited. For like a movie this is like probably ground zero for independent, or because I mean, this movie was shot in 1989 and 90, and it wasn't out till 91. I was like, damn. So this has 80s in it. You know, so like so it's streaming from a little bit of 80s, and it's all 90s, but it's a time of it's a voice for the time, is what I like to say.
I mean, the first Bush was president at the time. You know, this is 90s before Clinton. So, yeah, Yeah, man. It's very interesting too, because like I said earlier, it's like a dialogue, and you really only get that in a couple of of the segments, where they're actually going back and forth. And what was it, the discussion about her giving the money to that homeless guy or the guy on the street,
Yeah, the
and that
Coke.
and that yeah, and he's like, and then give him the Coke and everything. He's like, what's crazy is like both of them had very good points. It's taking both sides and like examining it. And I like that, but a lot of the conversations, it felt like they were one sided, like the pap smear pusher. I mean,
Well, it's a
but
sell.
you exactly, and you have those people that are coming, that are just like, but the conspiracy guy and JFK, they didn't have anything. Well, I guess JFK had something to sell. He was selling his book, but the conspiracy guy had nothing to sell.
So,
All he was doing was talking about his ideas, and it actually kind of got me thinking about some crazy stuff too.
what do you think
Uh,
about what he said about the radio transmission, dude? So Mahina, like imagine like you right now we have a computer. We can go back and be like, look what they said. You have a recording. I screenshotted this, dude. He's going by like a few of us heard it and that was it. And then
yeah,
they're like, you're crazy. You're crazy. You think like that. He's like, no, I heard it. Like this is the thing. And now what are we doing now? They did it. You did it. You did it. Real quick, I gotta pause it real fast because there's a very touching part for me in this movie that I totally forgot about. And I'll pause it for a second because it means this is a really good. When I saw this part, I was like, holy shit, I forgot about this. This movie was introduced to me by true Austinites. People like this is what I consider Austinites were. And so when they told me like welcome to Austin kind of thing, I started talking to just random people, and I would eat dinner by myself, go to restaurants, hang out, go to bars by myself, go to movies. I like to chill by myself, but I'm from a huge family. I like to be social, and so I like to hang out. And that guy he's in line waiting for the newspaper. Like I feel like that guy sometimes, man, because the guy's hey 2-for-1 special. He's trying to do the right thing. He
yeah.
screws himself over. So basically, what happens is it's the scene where the guy opened back, the newspapers where you got your information. You opened up, it's like a file on the computer.
Dallas Morning News. You should read it sometime.
Dude, that's another thing. Like, because they're in Austin, so you're in Austin, and he's talking about he's talking about Dallas news. So he's branching out a little bit. And this is what's going on over here. This is media spreading, which I love about this movie. This movie is very deep in that. Like, so this movie is like both his movies. I don't know if all of the Richard Linklater movies. I don't know about School of Rock, but I mean, probably is. They're super deep. They're super cut. Now that guy says ask that girl for a quarter, and she goes, "Well, you have a bad back. Why don't you work?" I go, "Oh no, I need change." Like that's annoying, man. She doesn't understand what's going on, but she gives a response. I'm not trying to say her, just anything online when somebody says misunderstands or doesn't get enough information.
That was the most genuine. Like, don't get me wrong. Like everything in this movie is fantastic, but that was like the way she said that just kind of reminded me of somebody like what somebody in Dazed and Confused would say is like, you got a good back, go work.
Go work.
It was one of those like snide comments. What's another crazy thing is you have a lot of older cars in here too. Like it does kind of, yeah. And it kind of feels like it's in the 70s. Like it feels old and kind of grungy, and it doesn't feel new, but all the conversations are new,
Think of this, brother. Think about this. There's no production value. He's just recording what he's seeing.
Yeah.
So the stuff from the 70s still, because we have old stuff that move on. So, that stays there. So it looks like it's a weird blend, right? It's a weird
still
mix.
have 20-year-old cars driving around now,
The Honda Civics.
1999.
They don't die, man. Those roach things.
But that's the thing too, is like, depending on where you're at, you're going to see more. So you're going to see more of the older cars, more of the newer cars.
Yeah.
Like it's society is kind of broken up like that. Whereas like if you were going to go to a nicer part of town, you're going to see newer cars more than likely, and if you're, like you said, if you're, what you said was on West Campus where this shot. So you're gonna have a lot of kids that they're still using their first car. They're still trying to get as many miles out of it as possible, and they can go and they can fix it. Yeah, exactly. And you can go back and fix those cars. You didn't have to worry about computers or anything like that in your car, or fucking up wiring or anything. Well, yeah, a little bit on the wiring, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
you'd have to learn. You'd have to get a book, and you'd have to go through the book. You'd have to actually learn through experience. You couldn't just go to YouTube. You couldn't go online.
But what I'm saying is, like, the cars nowadays, I mean, everything like, okay,
Oh, I get what you're
prime
saying.
example is
Yeah,
like I had a Toyota Tundra, and like I was trying to change the alternator on it, and dude, it was a bitch and a half. It was 2006, and this was in 2000 and like 10, 11. So it was a 5-year-old car, but dude, like everything was so compact. Everything was so just in there. And I had a buddy, like I'm not a big car guy. Like the only reason I knew about the alternator is because I think it went on my Mustang too, and I had to replace it there. It was fairly easy fix. I had a buddy of mine help me out there too. And I had a buddy that he was in the cars. He was like, yeah, we'll go out there and fix it. And he was out there for like 3 hours. He's like, damn, this is a lot of work.
it's like
And
I know what you're talking about.
and then this guy, yeah, and don't be wrong, like, yeah, you got to go find a book and you got to do all that, but hell, you can go to the library. I mean, that's like the internet, pre-internet. That's where all the information. That was the
Yeah,
information superstore right there.
that's why we need to keep libraries around.
It wasn't necessarily a highway, but it was a store that you could go and get information from, and I totally agree that libraries are, they're. I mean, I think I have a library card for the library here in Plano because we had to go make copies of our resumes whenever we first came here. So, um, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, it's this movie is it's so good. It's just there's so much.
There's so much. So I was going to ask you that guy. So the reason I brought that guy up is because, all right, that's 45. We've been talking for a minute. Sorry, I was supposed to catch that before, but the reason I brought that up was, one, there's two parts of that. I said there's something that hit me really hard, but also there's a lot. I mean, just in the conversation, there's a lot of detail. I guess I'll start with this. When I was saying when I first got to Austin, like people would have been telling me, "Have you seen Slacker?" And I was like, well, no. And they like, dude, we'd be at a house party, like just like on the east side or south or whatever on the West Campus. And somebody'd be like, dude, you haven't seen Slacker? Sit down. You're a film guy. You know movies. And that was the thing. When I got here, Austin was the quote unquote music capital. Now we're the laptop music capital or whatever. It's like, there's no music. Man, there is. I don't know. I don't go out. But what I was saying is like, so it was a lot of film people here. Now there's a lot of everything. It was definitely like in the last, since like for sure, I felt since 2015, 2016, there's a lot of film people here. So I was like, all right, cool. Maybe 2011. But for a long time, I was always surrounded by music people. Now, at the time, I was not a music buff. I understood music. I liked it. I got it more from movies. I liked that. But hanging around music people, I learned a lot about music. Like the 99% of the music I know now, I learned it here. When I left the border, I only knew about 10% of what real music was. Like I had the popular stuff, I had the good stuff, but I didn't really know. I had soul, I had jazz, all that, but I didn't understand other layers of it. I knew the mainstream version of those. So when I got here, I started really learning things. So I'd go to parties or go somewhere else, like, you need to watch Slackers. The first few times I saw it on VHS, and it wasn't really good. And so I kind of saw it. I didn't get it, but I saw it at Alamo Draft House. And when they brought it back or something, and I just went to see it, and I saw it in the movie theater. I don't know if that's the first movie that I was like, I need to watch this in the theater. I know there's one movie where I was like, I've only seen this movie on TV or I want to see it in the theater, and it's so much better. But once I saw it at the movie theater, and everything was, I mean, as best as Alamo can do it, where it's all dark and you feel the vibrations, you feel the sound, it brings you there. Then I was like, oh, this movie's way more impactful. And it wasn't until now. Because when I saw that, I was like, cool, but it still didn't have a feeling for me. But now that I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't exist. This is a great timepiece. So that's how I got introduced to the movie Slacker. And now I'm like watching it now. I want to watch it all the time. There's two things I also wanted to say. That guy, the guy with the newspaper, when I first moved to Austin, I kind of felt like I was him. Kind of like people misinterpreting, and then that guy sits down at him and says, stop following me. And he just walked in there. So he's walking around the corner, and some lady says the next guy that walks by is going to die. It's like all these weird things. It's like a weird, because you're kind of going through these areas. But there's that one character that is on the counter repeating the same things about you should not touch whatever. Yeah. I'm a doctor. I know you've heard me bring up my Aunt Sylvia, and that's my, one of my loves of my life. That's exactly how she looks. Like that lady, just put big old glasses on, bottle cap glasses, and that's her. And as I saw that, I was like, hey, it's my tia. Like, that was so cool. That's not her, the real person, but that's how she looks.
Yeah.
And being that I don't really have a photo of her, it was good to because I've seen, I can go back and look. I got, a few of them, but I don't have my own personal one. And I look at that, I was seeing like, oh, that's awesome. It brought me into that. So to me, watching this movie actually gives another layer now. Like to me, like it's just more. There's more to this movie that I'm remembering. Now we do. This is a nostalgia movie, but you gotta understand. Like I said, this could be the very first one that I'm aware of, or for for me and the generation that I'm in. Maybe that was the first time I came into it. But this is a way better movie when you, especially when as you're getting older and things, you want things to slow down a little bit. So you want to enjoy things. Like this is one of those movies. I would want to see somebody watch it now that's been in, that's just moved to Austin and see what they would think. Or I mean, just like you've never seen this movie, but
Yeah.
but I'm talking about you, but you've driven in Austin, you lived here. I'm talking about someone that just moved here. I want to see what they would say. But yeah, like seeing that, like that's cool. This movie has a little bit more connection to me with that. Not to say that's like for everyone, but that's my piece that I'm like, oh, she lives here for me. That's cool, but it's just Austin. Like I love this movie. I didn't really fall in love with it till this time around, but you know, like I said, like I'd go and they just haven't been watching it. I'd get all the way to the passenger pusher, and then you'd leave, or you'd like I remember being at a bar and then we're crowded and we're taking forever to order, and that's in the background. And you're just sitting there watching it, and the guy next to you, you're just watching. You're watching it. You don't mean to. It's supposed to be background is, but you just forget you're at a bar because it brings you in, and there's no audio. The audio makes this movie.
Yeah.
All the sound. There's no soundtrack. There's no score. This is beautiful. This is pioneer filmmaking, and this is why I think our show, and I'm gonna throw a little plug in our own show, is I think if it finds a crowd or niche in the future, 10 years from now, whatever, whenever people find this, I would like it to be more like a guide for filmmakers. Like look what was out there, look where you're coming from, and that's why I think this is important because damn, Richard Linklater really with this movie, it's too much. It's too much to go about. I mean, even the interracial couple that's in here. I forgot about the girl. She's actually another color folk. That's right. No, I do have her on my notes. I just forgot to say it. I know there's 3 people in here of color, and it's not a big deal. It's not because we're not there anymore. But like to say that that's now the new version of Slacker would be what do you call it? Would be a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And have a different color, have a different vibe, a different set. Like, you know. But I mean, by my notes, like I said, man, I have notes all over the place because not to say a lot of notes, just say that they're really all over the place because I was just writing notes how this movie made me feel in, and I mean, I have here the dialogue and in the dialogue and the conspiracy theories alone, it's deep. Like you have to listen to that, like to like try to listen to that while being on your phone because it's it's like the guy's. I don't know if he's just like okay. That's the thing. Let me ask you this. 2 questions I want to ask you on this one because they're related. One, who do you think you relate to the most in this movie? And if it's multiple ones, let me know. And 2, do you really think these are actors or are these people just having a moment?
No, these are. I can't remember where I heard it from, and this may just be hearsay, but I heard these were just like people in Austin. Like these, you know, I'm sure there was a casting process, but you know, these were just like regular average Joe. They aren't going to be big actors or anything like that.
But I'm just saying people that are trained. Like they don't have to be famous.
No.
At the time, they're not.
No, I don't think they're. No, they came in. They had a monologue or something that they had to remember. Or, you know, they had a little spiel, and then you move on. I mean, you have so many people coming in and out of these shots. I mean, there's no way you could find that many trained actors to be in a movie like this.
Dude.
You know, these are people that, you know, like I said, possibly had aspirations. But I think it would be like if we were in an independent movie.
I'll tell you this, brother. I'll tell you this. You ain't got to be famous to be an actor. You just act. So probably I'm wondering if he got a bunch of people that were tired of not coming out and stuff and put them in stuff. That guy with the typewriter, is that a break? Is that guy getting over a girl or like she's with? I don't understand. Is that girl cheating on all the guys or what's going on?
No, dude. That was just like that guy. He got screwed over by a girl, and his friend had gotten screwed over by a girl, and so he was trying to help his buddy get over. And then the other guy was, I guess, like with a girl, and he was like, "Yeah, and eventually she's gonna screw you over too." And then he just like walks away.
Okay, I thought it was the same girl.
And no, and then they. Well, it very well could be, but I don't think it is. You know, I think it's just funny because they have differing points of view, and it's like that couple that they got together and then they realized that they don't have the same kind of viewpoint, but they're always just kind of going back and forth, and you don't know if it's going to work, but it could work, kind of thing. Like, I don't know, man. that was an interesting, like, she didn't even want to go to the movies with him anymore
Yeah.
because they were having this conversation. She's like,
That,
I just need to be alone, I'll come back. And then she gets talking to the JFK conspiracy person. So, maybe that whole interaction helped him out,
what you just said right here is three guys having three different conversations, about the same topic. But that's the beautiful part about this, because we couldn't have that conversation anywhere else. Like, especially in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's dumb. That's not in the Bible. It's like, oh shit. Back then, not anymore. The Bible Belt thing's kind of on the hush. If you know where you're living, if you have Bible Belt people, you know exactly where you're
outside of Austin. That's where you're living.
Hey, there's a few in here, but they don't believe in science, so I don't know.
Listen, man, they get drowned out by everybody else.
Dude, I don't know. It's funny because it's like the lone little sign in the front, little red sign. I'm like, why even bother, man? Like, if you're gonna do it, go all out. Put lights. But you're the only one. Like, come on, dude. But dude, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it happens. It's the other way around. If I were to live in my hometown and they'd be, there's that guy. But this is the old school saying. People would tell me, we're the blueberry and the cherry pie. So like, that's what they would tell me all the time. But who do you the characters here? Who do you resonate with? Who speaks to you? Because there's two characters here, and I already said one of them, but the other guys, he hasn't come out to the end. Do you have anybody that sticks out? If not, I don't want to force you to think about it, but
let's see here.
Because that guy,
dormant potential. Let's see here. I'm reading through my notes and seeing if I could. Let's see here.
This is what I do like about.
I have Smurfs and Scooby Doo. I'm trying to just like kind of go back in the scenes and like.
Yeah.
It's like honestly, if like not to the extent, but the conspiracy people are probably the ones that I relate to the most, because those, well, not even that they are like me, but just those would be the people that I would want to listen to. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like those would be the people that I would like. Okay, I'd listen. Of course, I'd be like that guy that's just like walking along with him and be like skeptical and be like all that. But it would definitely start, ringing in my mind. Dude, honestly, I've been on a kick right now where like Joe Rogan, I'm gonna bring him up again. He has a lot of like UFO people on. Not a lot, but enough to where I can go back and like, okay. It's like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, Bob Lazar, all these people. And so whenever this guy was like rambling on, I was like, okay, like if you were to piece some of this stuff together, stuff that we know now, stuff that is, still conspiracy theory, but these people are credible sources. It's not some guy in a Batman t-shirt just walking down the street with you. But like, whenever he says, we've been on the moon since the 50s. And you're like, that's crazy. And then, like I said, living in 2021, you're like, shit, it's not that crazy, dude. Like,
yeah, now we know.
Like, what I'm saying is like the amount, like everybody back then was like, yeah, the government, and the government, but even more so now. And, with the Freedom of Information Act, and you have, the 9/11
but all that exists because of the, slip ups and wait a minute, technology, and that conspiracy guy, I wrote down some of the quotes I liked was, how's it going? And a matter of fact, where are you going? Like, it's like, he didn't have anything to do, but I kind of did. I'm not like that guy in the sense, but I did like to be like that guy in the sense of like meeting people and talking to them. It was so easy.
The JFK guy too. Like I, had a lot of crazy good points. He was like, well, I'm writing a book too. And, that was kind of getting me thinking, that's where those people that wrote the conspiracy books, they, at first you had the Warren Commission. So they wrote books off of that, and then what they knew and people they interviewed and all this other stuff. And then, what was it, 30 years down the road, you have people still writing books, but they're writing books based on books that they've read.
Yeah. So that's what it is.
It's almost like secondhand information. But they're just trying to
sell it. So it's it's like when I was taking journalism, I was big into journalism. I am the broadcasting student of the year. I'm hold that proud from 2003 class of the RHS. But there was a point where I was taking classes at ACC, and I started taking as I got older, around 27, because I've been taking classes for a long time. And as I had to start narrowing it down. I told myself, as you get closer to 30, you better pick something, because I'd been doing this thing for a long time. And I basically was just helping myself out, educating myself. I didn't take the time in high school, so I was doing it as an adult.
Mhm.
And what do you call it? I noticed that it's because I wanted to say something about conspiracy theory, and I'm all over the place. Um, I'm sorry, I'm out of it right now. I wanted to talk about this. I know we're running out of time for that. We didn't switch over, but
No.
for this part, I need to move because
Yeah.
that timer went off a while back, and I'm like, because I know Max was about to wake up.
All right.
But what do you call it? But just that dialogue that her and that guy have, she really like, man, like I was like, this is her conversation was really helped me out a lot. Like it feels like social media a lot. And what you said about secondhand information, thirdhand information, where people aren't really like experiencing a thing anymore. So here it's like, she says that guy, Mr. Perfect here, pulling these things from the shit you read. You really haven't you haven't thought it through for yourself.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Nobody in our world. Oh yeah, and it's boring and it's not even an original. So like it's not his thought, and that's why I feel like a lot of people with that it's a copy and paste. That's what she says. You pasted together bits and pieces from authoritative sources. It's like you're just going somewhere else, and it's basically she's copy and pasting what people do nowadays.
Yeah,
And,
you're spouting off somebody else's opinion.
yeah, it's
You're
not
not,
even.
yeah.
It's okay to listen to two things and then form your one or listen to one. But people are literally. Like, I mean, it's so weird when someone on social media is like this, and I'm like, sure, that's right. This is why I stopped doing that because people would be like copy and paste, and that'd be like plagiarism is a real issue here in America. Please don't plagiarize. Like, what do you mean? I go, those aren't your words. Like
No.
that's someone else. What do you know about this? Oh, you learned all that from the comfort of your own home, hey. And then you find out that person did. You're like, oh, well, are we doing anything? But
Hmm.
yeah, we need to move on. Sorry, I need to push this a little bit because we're trying to also do that. You have the timer going for the total show.
I started it a little late because
Where are we at on that?
I'm at. So you had a 45-minute timer, and it
Yeah.
was like at 20 minutes whenever I looked at mine. So we've been 15 minutes. So we've been on an hour.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we're trying to keep, everyone's been keeping up with us. We're trying to keep them around 2 hours, and because there's a lot of these movies, but there's more information. I'll share with you at the end when we get closer to finishing up,
Yeah.
because I do want to get into Scanner Darkly, because this one, I think it's gonna bring up more as we are talking about it, because Dazed and Confused. I mean, I'm sorry, Richard. Slacker. It was not like Dazed and Confused, which Dazed and Confused only made $1 million over its budget, so it wasn't really. There's got to be something to it why it wasn't well received.
It's a cult classic and fun story. I watched that on a VHS for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, back in old 2000 and it would have been, my sister was probably a sophomore or junior, so 2004, 2003, somewhere in there. So a good 10 years after it was released, which, hell, that's crazy.
Actually,
yeah,
I bought Scanner Darkly because so I bought it through Amazon. I went to they didn't have it at the stores. I bought it at at the Half Price Books. I bought it at online, but then it says it's gonna take, I'm not gonna get it for a week. So I was like, I'm not gonna get it in time for the episode. So I was like, I could either rent it for $3.99 or buy it for $9.99. And I was like, this is one of those I haven't seen in a long time. I just need to buy it. Like it's one of those. It's a Texas filmmaker. I love a lot of his movies, Richard Linklater's movies, without even knowing I love him. I was just like you said, School of Rock. I forget. Newton Boys wasn't too bad. I don't think it was that bad. I mean, that was his Hollywood thing. But we're gonna move on.
Skeet.
We're moving on to the Scanner Darkly, 2006. This movie, just from the beginning, it's already setting the mood.
Yeah,
it's already getting you there just by what to expect. See, the reason I brought up about Slacker, I don't know if you I saw the trailer for that. Did you see the trailer for Slacker?
No, I didn't watch it.
You should see. I gotta show it to you. You should see how they sell it as a comedy, like a slapstick comedy. That's why it's not a comedy one bit. But they didn't have a name. They didn't have a name for it. But when you see the trailer, I could see why they think it's a comedy. The way they sold it on the. So I want to know more about that. Did they do that for extra people to go watch it, or did they?
Probably was.
Because it's like they have it there like it's a comedy, and then it also says like oh man, it said the comedy of Twin Peaks isn't as fun as this. I'm like, well, Twin Peaks isn't funny either. Like I said, I don't know what to call them. I think Twin Peaks is like pretty dark.
Maybe like dark comedy. And a few things in here like the Pap smear pusher. I'm sure that it was that in the trailer. The Pap smear
Yes.
pusher. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah, so that would make sense.
'Cause
Also, if you knew who the Butthole Surfers were, then you're probably like, oh, she looks familiar.
it makes sense why now
Because
she's
they're from
super.
Texas. Yeah,
Yeah, they're because yeah, they're right down the street. She even talks about San Marcos, the guy from San Antonio, pulling. That's
yeah.
her neck of the woods. That's why it's so easy for her to say that. But yeah, you're right. The butthole servers, like they probably marketed like that for her. I think they did a good job with that. If I had to market it, but that looks pretty good. But a Scanner Darkly, man.
Oh,
I'm trying without me going too deep because this is a subject of mine that I deal with. But let's go into it. I mean, I'm saying without letting me go in too deep because I'll bore the hell out of y'all.
all right, dude. So Philip K. Dick. All right, we're gonna start off with that. This is based off of a novel of his called A Scanner Darkly, the titular title. That's redundant. Um, but yeah, man. So I had never seen this movie either. I had heard about it. I had seen it. I had seen the previous for it. I was about 15 or 16 whenever it came out, so I have a vague recollection. And I had back then I was more of like Super Bad, Dodgeball. Like those are the movies that I was kind of gravitating towards. Spider-Man, stuff like that. Hell, even some Pixar movies because Toy Story. I saw that whenever I was younger, so I'm gonna keep watching those movies. Um, but yeah, man, this didn't really this wasn't on my radar at all. And normally movies that weren't on my radar that my parents watched, I would watch. Some of them stuck with me, some of them didn't. But I do not remember this one popping up on the pay-per-view Saturday fun day, not doing any work whenever my dad wasn't feeling like working on the weekends. So this must he must not have been interested in this at all. Um, which doesn't kind of surprise me from the way this movie goes. I mean, it's different, it's weird, it has an odd stylization to its it's the rotoscoping. It's beautiful, but it's very it's very different. It's real, but it's not at the same time. It's like a cartoon, but it's not a cartoon.
So for the viewers out there, can you please tell us what rotoscoping is?
No, I don't know.
Okay,
I have
so
to pull it up.
this is my field, so I'll tell you. Which, by the way, this is in 2006. Basically, what Richard Linklater did, and I thought about it because this is what I've done, and then he's just the father of this because rotoscope's been around for a while. It's basically just what he did. He shot the movie entirety as it is, and then he had a team of animators go over and rotoscope. And what rotoscoping is a frame. You're taking that one frame of the movie and you're designing it to whichever way you want, and then you do the next frame and the next frame. So far it looks like you're doing an animation, which you're tracing basically. But to do that is extremely hard now.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about it is 15 years later, and it is hard now to do. Now it's easier because it's easier to trigger where you need to go. But back then, they literally had to do it frame for frame. I am super impressed with how they did this. I mean, you have every frame shot is a hand. I mean, it might be digital, but you have to still do it with hand. Just that first opening scene where you see what is I forget which name is Keanu Reeves goes by in this one because he goes at the end.
He has like Bruce and all sorts of stuff. Dude.
Yeah, let's see. I want to see his name's right because
Fred, is it Fred?
What has your
Bob?
Would you want to call him Fred for the thing?
No, I like. Let's just do. What's it? Arctur?
Arctur, yeah, Bob Arctur.
Yeah,
Robert. Yeah, so Bob, so Arctur. So yeah, you even see him wearing that suit, and the way it comes out, like just doing that, I'm so amazed how they did this. This is like, I mean, this has been the future because Clerks animated series is kind of what I try to say is like it's the same real life characters, but you give them animated, so you don't have to like really worry about the physicality of the talent. You just got to worry about the voice and make sure it goes through. Mm-hmm. And man, when I saw this, okay, so this is the first movie that I walked out of Alamo Draft House where I was like, damn, I got to stop doing that. Because what I said I got to stop doing that was, one, I had to stop going on dates on Alamo Draft House, and two, I had to stop getting drunk with my date. It was like, we would just drink 2 bottles of like Pinot Grigio and watch a movie. And so this one, man, I'm trying to remember who I went on a date with. It was, but I remember we went to watch this movie and we were drinking, having a good time. And I was like, man, it's really out there. But I remember when we walked out, I remember being like, I'm gonna have to rewatch this. Like, there's like way too much to understand, and also I was was dealing with drugs myself, so it wasn't like I want to see something in my face, you know, like, but you know, like I got to deal with my issues. So with time, you learn how to do that and all. And if anybody needs help, you can reach out to me. But what I'm trying to say is about this movie is, as I was watching it, like I gave it no justice the first time I watched it. You know, I think, you know, I love watching movies at the you know, Cinemark, AMC, Regal, whatever they're called. Like I like was just you and the movie theater. And for some reason, when you go at the matinee, at the 2:30 matinee, when nobody's in there, somebody has to sit next to you. Like that's like, I don't understand. Like I'm at the point now, or, you know, I don't know, before I had my son, but I'd be like, yo, you don't sit next to me. Like there's all these seats and you're sitting right next. Like what the hell? So, you know, you start hearing stories about people doing weird things in theaters. So I was like, all right, never mind. So what I would do is I'd sit somewhere like in the back, and then when they sit next to me right before the movie would start, I'd just get up and walk and move down to the front. And so they followed me. I'd be like, okay, what the hell do you want? You know, like, you know, it was weird. There was a time where I remember being like, this is the third movie in a row where somebody literally sat next to me and there's no reason, and they're guys. Like, what the hell? You know, it's like, but this movie is, man, it is out there. And like Vanilla Sky, I don't know if you've ever seen Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise, Penelope Cruz.
I get that, and Eyes Wide Shut. Okay, so I've seen bits and pieces.
So Vanilla Sky got a lot of flack, and they bombed The Office, but it has aged so well. And this is my opinion, is because it makes so much sense what society's going right now. I feel like this is one of those movies. I feel like this is one of those movies that's a little bit ahead of its time. Social media way, there's another way of someone trying to, I mean, the Bob was it Arthur? He has to wear the suit to not let people know it's him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the story behind this, you understand what they did to him, right?
Yes. They manipulated him into taking drugs, essentially. And because, I mean, you have Hawthorne, who, spoilers, is Hank. And I did have a sneaking suspicion, like there was one scene where they were standing next to each other, and
the height.
Yeah, the height. And I was like, that's her. Like, I just kind of, I was like, that's my guess, is that she is his superior. Yeah.
I didn't want to accept it, so I didn't accept it. So when I did get the reality at the end, I was like, oh shit.
Like, yeah. And another thing too is like I said, I've seen quite a few movies. I like trying to figure out twist turns and stuff like this. And coming into this movie, I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a twisty, swervy, you know, kind of movie. But yeah, man, this, where are we going with that? Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, me too. I'm watching it too. And it's kind of, I'm noticing it's losing, I'm stepping away from the podcast a bit. So let me get back over here. No, just saying the fact that, you know, how I got into it, and the way it is. This movie is also about, well, I mean, they're crackheads.
You asked me if I knew what they were doing to him. So essentially, man, is they were using him to get deeper into the organization without him knowing it. You have New Path, which they
and that's the company, right? That's the
it's like, yeah.
So is this
it's a rehabilitation center.
And they're really,
it's really a front for a drug operation. But dude, what's crazy though is you have Robert Downey Jr.'s character. Oh shit, what is it? It starts with a B.
Barris.
Barris goes into talk with the cops, and they have their scramble suits on and everything like that. And so, dude, so that entire conversation, first off, every time he goes in, he has a beret. So there has to be something to that. There's probably like that anarchist kind of like Che movement kind of thing, if I had to guess. But he goes in, he's like, yeah, I think they're part of some terrorist organization, that's against society, against all this other stuff. And I think he's talking about the operation that they're doing. I think he knows that they are undercover. I think he knows that both of them are undercover, and he is coming in, sitting in front of their face without them knowing. And, you know, don't get me wrong. I think Barris is stupid, but I think he is the way he talks, man, he has to know what's going on. You know, I have a feeling.
Oh, so but he just happens to be a crackhead, but he can actually stop them. But because at the end you find out, remember, spoilers, that Barris is what they're after. So they used freaking Arthur as their guinea pig,
Paris.
because they even tell, I was like, oh shit, because you there's a point there you're like, all right, what is all this leading to? And then they give it to you.
Well,
and then
sorry, yeah, and dude, the blue flower thing, like,
No,
oh, did you get your girl some of those flowers? The flowers, they're seeding Octor this entire time to pick out the flowers while he's at this compound. They're training him. I think they have an idea of what's going on, that Donna knows what's going on out there, and they're constantly bringing up these blue flowers, like throughout the entire thing, to just like, because he said at the end, it's like you have two brain cells, they're barely firing, like, but if you can remember the blue flowers,
shit, that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And so they're feeding them. I mean, even the people that are testing them, even throughout the entire thing, they're just constantly feeding him this one, not one, but they're reinforcing it, so that's why he bends down and picks it up. I think that this substance D, which is what they call death, as well, he even says that at the end. He's like, I've seen death rising out of the ground, and
that's what I mean. Yeah, see, like I was trying to put it in my head. I just couldn't get it.
And because his hemispheres are competing, that's why he sees it and then he doesn't see it. That's why he sees it, he doesn't see it.
Because the other side's taking over. So it's getting us to be one whole brain, right? One whole right side. And then but then sometimes the left will come over, so he's there. Damn. See, this is layered, dude. You gotta really
dude. And yeah, no, it totally is. And it's crazy, dude. Like, I didn't, like I said, I started watching this last night, and this is like the third or fourth time that it's kind of just been on in the background, and I've just been the first time last night I fell asleep, and then I woke up this morning and watched the rest of it, and then I just kind of let it play, and I'd catch bits and pieces, and this is just kind of what I've been picking up. But
this is like Oscars material in my opinion.
Yeah.
And dude, and then the fact that it's just out of a book, like that's why there's so much detail in this. This is a book movie without making it feel like it's from a book.
Well, here's the real question. Do you think they chose the rotoscoping aspect because of the scramble suit? Do you think that was the main catalyst for them wanting to do that?
I think so. I think it's something
because that way you could get the full picture, because I think if you didn't have the rotoscoping, you couldn't be able to do that as effectively, I
mean, for the equation I took from this for myself was there's a point where you're taking notes on this, and there's just so much. Like this first, we can do this movie twice and still not have to take notes because there's so material in here. It's like there's plentiful fruit on the tree, so we don't really have to go to a certain spot to get it. It's everywhere. Like, I don't know, oh, that's not nice. But like, big thing about this movie is it's got just their actors really bring a great solid performance of portraying like the state they're in. I'm really mind boggled. I love RDJ before MCU. When you I think there's something about when you're younger and you follow an older actor. Well, he's older than me, obviously, and then you see their career and then they do something like an MCU. It's like when people are talking shit about you, when everybody was making fun of you down, look what you're still able to do and come up to. And this is 2 years before Iron Man, and you can kind of already see Robert Downey Jr. already getting in shape. Like
this is probably because the post production took 18 months. This was shot in, I think, like 23 days or something like that. Something very. So this came out in 2006. This was probably like 2005, 2000, maybe even late 2004 that they were shooting this.
So
so I mean, this is like probably the shoot was probably 4 years before.
So he had time to, because I want to say I don't know what he did prior to this. Let me look it up real quick. But what I'm trying to say is like, this is like right before the up and coming. This is like, if you're going to buy stock, this is the point like where I would get it on Robert Downey Jr. because this is
right after. I mean, I'm assuming he was clean for this movie too.
He had to do something. But now this is what I love about this movie, because I mean, I don't know. He did Zodiac after that, and then Charlie Bartlett, like you. Well, the thing is,
he did Charlie Bartlett in between Iron Man, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And like, so he's
Sherlock Holmes as well. I mean,
Sherlock Holmes is 2009, so it was right after.
Yeah.
Like it was like because I think maybe Sherlock Holmes was his backup just in case Tony Stark didn't pan out.
And once I would say after 2011 is really when the MCU was like, all right, we're gung ho, we're going for it. You know, Iron Man, you got to be in this because I mean, 2011 was Captain America, and then next year you had Avengers. After Avengers, Disney has taken over, and this is I mean, you're part of a conglomerate now, so you're going to be required to really put in some time and effort into this. You know, before that, I mean, it could just, you know, he was making cameos in Incredible Hulk, and
But also too, you understand he couldn't get roles, right?
yeah,
Because he wasn't insurable.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson, I don't know if it's Iron Man, but Mel Gibson he's a real good friend with Mel Gibson, and he coughed up the insurance money. It was like $2 million or something. Like, oh, here's a check, something like that. That's the story recalls. Remember, I don't know, just look it up for anybody listening. Yeah. But he helped him out. But what I'm trying to say about this is like Robert Downey Jr.'s acting sticks out so bad in this movie. Like he's so good because he himself is a drug addict, and he's playing a drug addict. So it's like. But he's not. That's not Robert Downey Jr. That's the character Barris that he's playing. You know.
But is he? I mean,
I don't know. He's not using it at this point.
No. Well, no. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about Barris. Is Barris actually an addict?
Man.
Because I feel like he's more of a dealer. If they're trying to get to Barris,
but my thing is he is an addict. He's just a little bit more clear-headed. Where you see what's his name, Rory Corcoran. What's his name?
Yeah, but everybody else is like. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's tweaking on something, but I don't think it's D. I don't think it's substance
Charles
D.
Frick. Saying, and I think. Well, no, he's the one that has it. He gives it to the Woody Harrelson character. I didn't even catch his name in this movie.
Lunchman or something.
Yeah, Luckman. Like he gives it to him. Remember the car runs out. They're pulled aside. He gives it to him, and he gives it to the I have the Arctor. It's a weird name. To say.
Yeah,
Arctor.
It's like actor with an R.
Or Archer. It's not. It's like
right.
It's both. So Archer.
That's almost looks like rotoscoping too.
Exactly. That's good. That's good animation, man.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying.
Dude, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say about like Frick has those hallucinations, and then you see Barris, which I think he's on it. He's just maybe monitoring what he's doing, because by the time you get Arctor, you find out he's lost, and that's the thing I love about the story. You're kind of hearing it through Arctor's point of view, which you're wanting to be like Keanu Reeves is. It's Keanu Reeves. He's a good guy. He goes, no, he's dying. Like he's going down this hole. And you have to go with him. And to me, it's like it's kind of like New Jack City when you see Chris Rock, Pookie dies, and you're like, oh, it's just Pookie, but then Chris Rock becomes Chris Rock, and you go back and watch that movie, and you're like, no, Pookie dies, don't die, or like what do you call it? Still Magnolias? You have is it Still Magnolias? The one with you have
that was Tom Cruise.
I'm thinking about the other one. Is it Magnolia? The one with Julia Roberts where she dies and you're always like, oh, this movie's so great, but then Shelby always dies at the end. I forgot what it's called, but I think it's Steel Magnus, whatever it's called. But there's like those, and you see this movie like that, you're like, oh, Keanu Reeves, but then you're like, oh no, he's not a bad guy or a good guy. Because I was trying to understand, is he a cop or what is he? He's not a cop.
Yeah,
he's a cop.
He is an undercover cop.
Oh, that's what he is. Sorry, that's what they say. Pretend.
And that's why he has to do that, and that's why they were going to get him. But you know, even Donna, I mean, she's smoking weed, but I guess that's what she's getting at is like, you could have just pretended to pop the pills and not actually do it. But then how are you going to effectively convince people that if you've never tried it before, then how do you know? Another thing too is what Barris says at the beginning to Freck is like, there are no weekend warriors on Substance D. You either have tried it or you haven't.
Yeah, no, he goes, either you're on it or you about to do it or something like that.
Or you haven't tried it yet. Yeah. So I don't think Barris takes Substance D. I think he's on something. I think he has another pill that he takes. He takes like speed or some shit, because the way he tweaks is not the way the other ones tweak.
But also too, you know what? Even the part where Lockman chokes, he's not on any. I don't think he's on. You're right. He's not on anything. No,
he's not on anything.
He's just an asshole. And not an asshole. He's the guy, and that's his way he is.
Yeah, and he's paranoid for sure. That's why I think he is tweaking on something. But whether it is, you know, it's not Substance D. Not the way that all these other guys are reacting to it.
What you said earlier, though, right now, what you just said about where Arctor goes, where Hank tells Fred, you could have pretended, And he's like, but you can't. He's right. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, drug addicts don't want to be around non-drug addicts because it's a hard thing to explain. It's a hard thing because it's, put it this way, you still want to communicate, you still want to talk to people. You don't, but also you don't know you're going through this shit. You don't know that it's taken over. So what happens is you only want to talk to the people that you can confine to you want to talk to, but then you find out like, oh, well, we're all talking together in this restroom because we all have this one common thing. And it's like, and I think,
isn't that kind of strange that like doing something that like a psychoactive drug can kind of give you a mind meld with somebody? Like you were like, oh, I understand what you went through. Like it's almost like
you're connecting on the same.
It's almost, it's like a, not even a post traumatic stress, but like it's something that you've experienced, and it's a similar experience. Kind of, you're either going to have a good trip or you're going to have a bad trip.
With my experience, especially having the addiction shit, it's you're both at the same time. When I'm getting older and just putting it all together, you're both at the same time doing the same thing on the same high, same wavelength that nobody else can be on unless you're in that moment. I cannot be sober around drunk people. I cannot be sober around. I mean, I can have a drink. I'm fine. It's like I haven't done drugs in 10 years, so and marijuana doesn't count. It's a plant. What do you call it?
It's medicine in some states.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
It's all about moderation. I mean, if you take a shitload of Ambien, it's not good for you.
But that's what I'm talking about. Marijuana doesn't do that. That's a pharmaceutical, drug. Yeah. So like that's one thing I got from Knocked Up was when Harold Ramis, repeat, when he said to what Seth Rogen's character, he says, if it comes from the ground like pot and mushrooms, you're okay. I'm not saying that you should live it by that, but living with hippies in Austin, you kind of tend to see like, oh, that's what that drug does. That's what this does. Okay. And I'm a lab rat. I was a lab rat for 8 years. So it kind of gets you understanding. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I always thought about this. I don't want to like cross my life story with like events that I might've, done some shady things, but not on purpose. Not like, what I'm trying to say is I was a lab rat and, doing my own pharmaceutical drugs on the side. So it's like, you get paid to do them and you're going to your street pharmacy over here. They sounds contradicting, but you got to see how I did it. Which probably maybe in time I'll do my super secret lab rat life, but there's too much right now on the plate. I've been wanting to do that YouTube series, but it's just too much. I can't do it. Not right now. I have way too much to do and I'm focusing on this. Dude, it's weird because like what I want to say about Slacker on this one, what I can really relate is that like that feeling of acceptance. And yes, when you are doing certain things, you want to be accepted. You still want to be loved. You just, you can't find things. But it's like, even like that word love, like it's not the word love that you really want. You want the caring part of it. I can tell someone I love them all day, or someone can tell me they love me all day. But if they're going around doing shit behind, like talking bad about me, not like if some, I don't know, just going around talking mess. And then it's like, well, do you love that person or not? Or someone says, I hate that person. And I'm like, do you really hate that person? Because if that person died, you'd be okay with it? Because I wouldn't. I'm like, well, no, I don't hate him. I'm like, well, that's what hate means to me. What does it mean to you? So with that, you try to find that sense of care. And sometimes I will say this, being on probation for 7 years, and it didn't start off like that. Because you keep getting in trouble, and you keep putting you in these little places where you go and meet other drug addicts. Like, that's kind of weird to me. Like, they make you take these classes. God damn, I didn't want to go conspiracy. I am only going through conspiracy through my life, because they make you take these classes where you're with other people. Well, then they're like, you want to go get high, and you're like, well, dude, aren't you fucking in trouble? Is it like, so yeah. That was my thing. When I would see somebody that would do that, I'd be like, nah. I'd be like, I gotta stop. I don't have any stories of me, but I just remember people like going and doing other shit. Like, I'm like, aren't you in here for getting in trouble? Aren't you in here for like? So I think I use probation to kind of help me out. And it's not to say I'm a bad person or anything. I'm open about it. Honestly, I'm talking about it on my podcast, but it's a trap, man. If I would have known, you could have done an outside course and you would have been off probation, but it would have cost you more. I would have done that than, do a probation for 2 years and you go get in trouble for any random thing. And then they extend your probation, and then they think you're not qualified, and they extend it again. And then they bring in a new person, and that person reads the notes, and what you're telling them now doesn't add up. So then they put you through another evaluation. You're like, well, that you try to tell them like, hey, this is not the same person I talked to for this year. Like, now you got a different person. This person is trying to give me a different plan. I'm supposed to be off. It's like, this is stupid. It's all contradictory, man. And why?
Yeah.
There's other reasons why I don't trust my government, not just for shit I read online. You know,
Well,
like
and dude, so did you catch the cameo in A Scanner Darkly?
yeah, I did. Thank you for bringing. This is what I was talking about. I could get deep in this. Thank you for pulling.
Yeah.
That actually didn't even reside to me till now.
Yeah.
I didn't even. I was like, there he is,
Yeah.
Alex Jones.
Who would have thought? You know, of everybody screaming conspiracy theories. You know, this is a great movie for him to be a part of. And he even said it in his little cameo. I was one of you once. You know, quit selling out your own species.
Sell out your whole species.
And what's crazy is he doesn't have that raspy voice. You know, he doesn't have that. You know, nowadays. Yeah, he doesn't have that nowadays. Like classic Alex Jones, like, oh, raspy. Oh, yeah, the frogs are gay, and yeah, the everything the government. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's very it's interesting because that's a guy who's been, you know, like I said, Joe Rogan has him on the podcast and he defends him. He's like, you know, there's a lot of things he's been correct about. You know, there's a lot of shit he's not right about too.
Dude,
But
I can't even pay attention to that. I can't.
No, but see, that's the thing, dude, is like, all right, so we could go on and on about Alex Jones. I think that he is more or less a disinformation person. He is there to spout out a lot of things that aren't true, and he'll sprinkle in a little bit of truth as well. I don't think he's necessarily working with the government or anything like that, but I think he does, because what was it, like the Bohemian Grove? Like he went and infiltrated that, where like all these politicians were and all this. This was like back in the '90s and everything. That's how
So
Joe
so
Rogan
it's
got,
that's how Joe Rogan went.
that's how he kind of like got hooked up with him. Is like
Okay.
he saw his Bohemian Grove tape and he was interviewing people and he was just showing him what they did in this little deal. Anyway, yeah, dude, this movie, like you said, is crazy deep. Like there's a lot of layers to it. You have Freck, who is obviously that, like,
Full
that one
blown.
full blown tweaker. Aphids, dude. That's what he was like. They're aphids. That's what he called them. And aphids are typically, they're going to, you know, they'll get infested into corn and to crops
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So that's interesting that you see aphids. I wonder if that's like, because obviously Barris knows what he's talking about. Like he's had people that this has happened to them before. So, and I think his method of like helping him deal with these, like, well, just put them in a glass container, you know, just start picking them off and put them in there and maintaining them. And, you know, that's very interesting way of, you know, helping somebody who is hallucinating and going fucking nuts to deal with their psychosis, which is pretty much what this is. I mean, they're literally losing their minds off of this drug. What they gain out of it isn't really, I haven't figured that out, because you know, with like with shroom, you didn't see him like be high or anything. It was just like that, you know, tweaking kind of thing.
I'm seeing it as the modern day marijuana. As like, you know, people nowadays. One of my buddies said a good point about, well, he was talking about a girl that he was dating. I was like, what happened? Y'all were doing well? He goes, yeah, I want somebody that smokes weed for recreational, not for codependency. And I was like, hey, yeah, that makes sense. Because then you want someone that you can just go out on a vacation and just be y'all to, and you don't have to do anything. You know, you don't need to smoke, you don't need to drink, or you can just hang out. And I was like, oh, and I think that's what I got from that was that there's a codependency there, even though it's I got that because it's like they're taking it, they're not really getting high. There's a lot of conversations, like the bike conversation. Like, and that's now that you're telling me Barris might be on something or might not, it's really tripping me out. He might just be crazy because he's talking with addicts like he's an addict, but see, that's why I love. That's what RDJ is doing, dude. Mm-hmm. He's like he's so maybe they think he's right.
Here's another thing: is he working with New Path? Is he recruiting people? Is he getting people addicted?
You think he worked with them?
I think that's what they're trying to do, because obviously they're trying to infiltrate something that's bigger and higher, and New Path is the higher up, and they're aware of that. They know that's where it leads. They just can't infiltrate it.
What about
so? What's
sorry. No, keep going.
No, I was just saying that Barris is like, it's like that South Park episode where freemium games. It's like, oh, have you tried the new Terrence and Phillip games? Like, they have Jimmy out there and he's like peddling this and getting people addicted to it, and then that in turn makes these people money, which that's what New Path is. They make money through the rehabilitation, and then they use the people that they're helping to make money and get more people addicted.
It's exactly. It's a loop.
It's a loop. It's a circle. It's
a circle. Do you think that Barris and the Alex Jones character is called the Street Prophet? Do you think they're the same? Because because if you think about this, has a conspiracy theory to it. Minority Report to it, where they're following you through they show you how you could digitally find, like, through the phones.
I think Alex Jones would be more relatable to Arctur, because I think that Street Prophet, he was like, I used to be one of you. I think he was a cop that saw.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, you could also work for Negro and be like I'm saying, like, say something.
If are you saying like Barris worked for New Path and then they they like send him out into the real world, and it's like,
he got fired or something, but he's seen so much. But now that they can monitor them and they could put it. I mean, there's a part where Keanu Reeves or Archer is running on the Arctur is talking on the phone with Hank and or Donna. And he's on the phone, and then it looks at the guy on the phone and the security, the person. It says, "Do we arrest?" Like, it's like a Minority Report. Like, you're breaking the law. Here, we got evidence. Look what you did. And like that's like.
So how do they know not to arrest them?
Under false, pretense. I don't understand. Like, it doesn't seem like a lawyer could help you out in this situation, man.
Well, no, not even that. Like, how do they know that they're undercover cops? Like, what do those people behind the cameras know?
Oh, I don't know. That's why they're on the scenes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But they know not to arrest, so they obviously have to know that they are.
Oh, they're caught. Yeah.
They're working. So if that whole, and I think that's those are the scanners. Those are the scanners.
Scanner darkly. I gotta take that pause.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Hey, well, no. Yeah. So, guys, this movie, A Scanner Darkly, is just fantastic. It is a mind-bending trip. So my notes that I have here: does Barris think that both Arctur and Hawthorne are undercover, and are they part of the organization that is killing society? Why would he let Luckman die? That was another question I have. Does Arctur really have a wife and kids? It's almost like he was pre-programmed to like have the speech ready, and even when he's talking to his superior, somebody who he doesn't have to necessarily play for, he even does he says they're little. So it also kind of made me think that maybe what is his path? How was he recruited for this role? And all that. I did have a suspicion that Donna was his superior, as in Hank. It was a height difference that really kind of got me there. And movies like this seem to have twists and turns. So there you go. They should have. Oh, I have a note here that they should have cast Keanu Reeves in Sin City with his little monologues, or I don't know what you call it. I can't think of the word, but whenever he's narrating and has his own little thoughts going on in his head, that's another thing that I just kind of thought of Sin City, like, oh, Dark Knight, all this other stuff.
We're gonna wing it. Yeah,
I was kind of filling the dead air there, so if you want to cut it, you can. If not, you can do that. But
we'll see. I'm pretty unpaused. So good one.
So one thing that I was thinking about too, some of the questions that I had: why would Barris let Luckman die? What's his gain there? Would it be to create more suspicion around Arctur? Is that his main goal? Is to get him caught?
No, I don't think he knows. I don't think Barris knows about Arctur. Oh no, he knows about him. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, we'll just pause it. We'll pause it and then we'll come back. Resume recording. All right. So sorry, we had a little break. My mini me had to get a little attention, but now we're back.
All right. So
Well, he let him.
Yes.
I think he didn't intentionally save him. It's showing his cold heartedness. Like he's not there for them. I mean, he does call the police, but he's not making an effort to save
And
them.
even that seemed a little lackluster. I mean, was he honestly calling them?
I
And
mean,
you don't, because I mean, whenever Donna calls, or whenever Hank calls Donna, that you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
you
No,
don't.
also too because he does that scene where they're at the car and he goes inside and gets the hammer and it comes back and it's like, what's the point of like? That's what makes me think they're all a bunch of crackheads. But now that we're just like going into it, like, is Barris not a crackhead or is he an old user? I don't understand. And this isn't a happy ending. This isn't a happy movie. This is
No,
a thinker, man. This
no.
is
This is not a happy ending at all. The only happy little bit that you get from this is that he could possibly stop
a corporation.
New Path from doing that. But and I think that Barris in his own mind is like, okay, you're part Arctur is part of this terrorist organization, aka the police, and he's like, so is Hawthorne, and he is trying to get them caught so bad, but then he just keeps on like having it. Nope, can't, we're not getting them kind of thing. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I think.
I mean, they're basically just trying to get Barris to put him away, and then he goes to them. He's like, he goes to the lines then, and he does it twice. And then, I mean, it's funny when he gets up. I've been waiting to go to the Garoppolos, and like they tell him we're gonna arrest you for right now. But so that's the whole point, and that's the thing about this movie that once you really get that, like you're like, wait a minute, they've only been using Bob to get to Barris, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like they went through that far, and there's that part where Donna's having that conversation with that guy, and he says. She goes, did we like he didn't volunteer for this? We made him a drug addict and then we threw him in there. He's like, well, it's the only way. But it's also like we're hoping it's like a message in a bottle. Let's hope something happens. I mean, because it's so corrupted, like it's money.
His mind is literally fried. You can tell that by the end. He's like,
yeah.
He's
I mean,
asking, I don't, and you hope in your mind, you're just like, is he really fried? Is he completely fried? Is he acting like he is? But you have to imagine that he is because he had no idea what their plans were.
And the thing is too, like, man.
Also, was that Frick in the New Path facility with
Yeah,
him?
he shaved his head. Yeah, that's him. But I mean, he doesn't even recognize. They don't even recognize each other.
Mm-mm.
And he doesn't even bring up his friend. He doesn't my friends. And I thought he was going to bring up Freck. He didn't bring him up. Charles Freck. At least he had good wine. He was in hell. He was trying to kill himself. And it didn't work out. That also he's told the story so much. Like the opening scene, they're just introducing Fred. Like they know he's a cop. He's talking to other cops. But even at that, like that opening scene really sets the tone. I think that's what a Richard Linklater movie is going to do: is give you everything up front and then enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And the story about the kids. I have kids. It's not like he's said it so much. He's just.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think he even had a wife and kids?
No, at first it was fucked up because I thought he did, and then he didn't have the two girls, and it's just an illusion. That's what an illusion looks like. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he did. I don't think he lost it.
I don't think he did either because even whenever he was talking to Hank, he was like, "I do have kids, little."
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like it's something that he's just said.
But that's why he caught it. It's muscle memory. He caught himself. He said that speech so much that he catches himself like, "Oh, I don't have kids." That's the feeling of the whole illusion that he's building it in his head. Like this is a home. It should have kids in it, and he's thinking that's what it should be like. We're just seeing his thought. I'm thinking that. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're seeing his thought when we see the
wife and kids.
Yeah, it's not a memory. It's made up. Like it's something that he's just thinking of. Because even at that with the Donna character, they talk about Barris talks about not being able to have sex with her.
Yeah,
and then you really find out
because it's his commanding officer.
Wait a minute, what?
I mean, that's a superior.
Who?
So that's why.
Not Barris. Not Barris.
But
no, Barris is trying to have sex with Donna.
Oh, was that what it was? I thought he was talking about Arctur having sex with her.
No, I think something like that. But I thought he was talking about him. Either way, he has the conversation there on that part we get that he says that she doesn't want to have sex because of the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out it's because she's a cop.
Yeah.
But then you find out she does.
I just do so much coke, and he even says that's lame.
That's true. So that's her. So she pretended. So that's her pretending. Because I was wondering, like, I don't understand that. Why is she? But then she's falling for him too, because she does have sex with him, but she has like a.
Is that her?
I think it is her.
Is it her?
I
Who
think
knows, man? That's
no.
why this.
Well, he catches it at work when he's looking at the video. He sees it
Yeah.
happen again. So she's wearing this a type of suit that'll help her.
Then why'd she go back? I mean, she's asleep. She's asleep through the whole thing. That's another thing. How'd she not wake up? Is she even there, bro?
Oh, that the blonde chick.
Either one of them.
They were there.
How do you know?
He's got it on recording.
Yeah, but could he be making it up in his mind, and you're just seeing what he thinks he's seeing?
No, I think this is the literal form though. In the see, this is the mind. This is damn it. This is where now you got me thinking. Like maybe because it's for us to interpret it, and that's the beautiful part about this. Because it's literally
is he actually Bob Octor?
And who's Bruce?
Who's Bruce?
I don't know. This is one of this is a like. I mean, I love just from the film point.
With that whole scene with Donna and the other chick, I think it is another chick coming in. And I did read one of the trivia things that like she had some kind of necklace that Donna had on or something like that that could hold water, but I think it was another chick that he has seen somebody else. And even in the hollow scanners, like it's his mind fucking with him, because you see pretty much everything from his perspective. You don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like it's you see stuff from Freck's perspective where he feels the aphids and everything like that, but then after you meet Octor, you're just seeing what he sees.
Dude, I didn't really realize that. And he goes through 3 phases in this movie, and he's got 3 names in this movie. He's got Fred, Octor, and Bruce. And then when he's a cop, when he's a drug addict, and when he's trying to rehabilitate.
So who is he?
I'm you, you and me.
He's all 3, man. They're all him. They're all me. It's the same. It's yeah. That's why this movie is such, like you said, it's so good, because it's such a mind fuck. He doesn't know who he is at this point. You don't know who he is. You can't differentiate, but at the end that you're pretty sure that's him at the end. And what is it they say where they're at the diner, like something about that's not God's MO, something about reality. I can't remember. It was like a thin layer of reality, and then you can kind of dip in and see what's really real from time to time.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, what is New Path? Who's
I'm confused, dude. Like I don't know. It's a freaking circle, man. Like it is. It's like you're going in a freaking circle. You're chasing your tail, and it's like it's confusing on purpose.
Yeah.
It's
confusing to make you think. It's to get you thinking. This is like this is like like Orson Welles, like 1984. This is that shit that's supposed to make you think. This is the stuff that's supposed to make you like question society. Is this right? Who's in control? Who's really in control? Who's making the decisions? Who's pulling the strings? Is there anybody pulling the strings? Is it just your imagination? Or are you just taking too many drugs and then you think there's strings being pulled? Is that how the conspiracy theories work? You just get people on LSD and throw them to the world after you fill their heads with these crazy thoughts.
It's kind of messed up, right? You're an LSD pharmaceutical company, and you get someone doped off it, and you tell them the truth, and no one's gonna believe you.
I mean, MK Ultra and all that shit. I mean, stuff that's been proven, where they were feeding LSD to people and trying to see if they had, was it like psychic abilities or some shit like that.
That's
or
true.
trying to do all that. It's a crazy world we live in, and there's no, like, even the reality you see, is that really real? Is this all a simulation? CJ, I'm getting into some some stuff that I've heard about. You know,
let me tell you. Let me tell you, man. You told me way back in Slacker episode that you would be the conspiracy theory guy. So I'm cool with like I'm just listening to you go through this, and you're building it in my head, and I'm remembering from my memory, because it's not that I ignore things. I just like, if it doesn't affect me in a certain way, or if it's I need to. I'm more of a local kind of guy. You know, globally it does affect things, because if it trickles down to me, then by that point it's too late. But especially with I mean, anything can happen with these ideas, and what is it, and who we do.
I want to go back to Slacker for just a second. You know, that beginning scene with Richard Linklater. If that's the case, if there's like different, if there's one of the guys that stayed at the bus stop, do you think in an alternate reality Richard Linklater has a story where that guy stayed at the bus stop and we just see him all the way through?
I do. Well, I actually think that Richard Linklater, if he didn't make that movie, he would be at the bus stop.
Here's what I'm thinking, because I think that Richard Linklater, in every reality that there is, infinite realities, all right, he is a filmmaker, and there are literally infinite versions of Slacker going on. I think there is not a single reality that Richard Linklater is not a filmmaker and not throwing these ideas at, besides the ones where he wasn't born in. But you know what I'm getting at? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
There's, there are infinite stories in Slacker. You're not going to get the Pap smear story every time.
Yeah,
but sometimes.
It's an organic. But that's the thing. What I like about it, he didn't have like a production value. Like, he just like recorded what was going on around the time, so that doesn't change, because it doesn't. It's exactly what it was. It's
you just get different stories. That's all. I mean, it would be the same production value. It would just be different stories. And I think that's cool to think of. Like, I want to have a Mandela effect where we get a different version of Slacker instead of the Bernstein Bears. That's what I want to see.
The Bernstein Bears.
You know what I'm talking about there?
They're talking about some of them going back and like pulling out archives of old cartoons that didn't really work.
Yeah,
rebooting them. Let's make another Slacker.
And they call it the Mandela effect because there's apparently a large chunk of the population that thought Nelson Mandela died in prison or something like that.
Oh yeah, because
and that's why they're like, okay, well, this reality must have coincided with this one, or some people escape. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's been a long time since I've come across the Mandela effect. Like, just the idea of it. It's one of those things you read and you're just kind of into it. But you're right.
What if that universe was ending, so they had to send some people over here, man?
I mean, Nelson Mandela was. Oh, I get you. Nelson Mandela, I loved him in the Shawshank Redemption. He was pretty good in the book.
He was really good as God.
Dude, those are those memes on social media that they're like, it's like, oh, I want to say that it's kind of messed up. We're not making fun of Nelson Mandela and his acts. We're just saying about when you read a meme and it's like somebody's mocking. It's a picture of Morgan Freeman, and they put Nelson Mandela's name, or vice versa, which would actually prove your theory, what we're talking about. That's like, in this reality, people see Nelson Mandela as Morgan Freeman, even though they have nothing. Do they have anything in common? I don't even know.
Maybe the freckles.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, other than physical, anything. Like, are they connected in any way? Like, that is. Oh, here's. I'm not gonna go through this website, but I see what they're doing. They took brands and they said, "There you go, the Bernstein Bears." That's what you're saying. Berenstein. The Bernstein. Yeah. It's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein. I'm actually Jewish. I've never heard that from Sex in the City. Eau de Parfum.
Wait, do you really not know where you heard that from? It's Frankenstein.
That's from Family Guy, no?
No, Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I just remember that.
Gene Wilder. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I heard that. I mean, the thing is, that movie is one of those I saw when I was a real kid. So some stuff pops out to me because it's stuck in my head. but the movie, I kind of like, oh yeah. But man, I think. Just like what you just said about Slacker and Scanner Darkly, like this is a Scanner Darkly is a Austin filmmaker made movie, and at the same time, I think Idiocracy came out. So This is another Mike Judd, another guy from Austin that made a very similar movie, as in story, but not actually what you come out with. Idiocracy is like, it is a comedy opposed to Slacker, but it's a truth, a lot of truth behind it. And
go away, I'm baiting.
Oh, I'm biting. Hey, you want us to go family style on her? You, dude. So I'll tell you this too about we're running low on time and about dude, imagine we didn't have this 2-hour rule, we'd totally be like way into it. And Scanner Darkly actually connects with my movie Hacker. I want to say I did without even knowing Hackers. Yeah. But like just like those movies like when I would watch, I had a friend. I don't want to say this. I don't want to piss her off, but there's some things you watch in South Park and you know not to say in real life. Like, you know not to admit it because they're making fun of people of that circle or whatever, and there are people that are going to get offended. But when
what do you mean? Tell me.
Oh God, there's that episode.
No, I'm just joking.
There's that episode of that guy that's like, I'm 1/16th this. And I'm like, when I hear that in real life, I'm like, you don't watch South Park. How do you don't say that?
Yeah.
It's basically non-existing. Like, but it wasn't from a white person that told me. That's the thing. So I'm like, anyway, it was someone colored my color, like, and trying to tell me that they're this. And I was like, okay. But plus, it's not one person I have. It's a lot of people I've gotten into with this. And I don't mean to. I'm just kind of like, when I hear that, I'm like, you've never seen South Park. Well, I don't watch that garbage. I'm pretty sure a lot of people
that is commentary on society on a weekly basis, and to disregard it just because you don't like what it's saying is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
But even like that, if South Park were to come out with something that was totally something I didn't agree with, and then they kept doing it, maybe they would lose my interest. But I've invested so much at this point, I just be like, oh, let's see where this goes.
But I know
the intention.
You know the intention, and that's the whole thing about it is if you know the intention, if you know that it's, why it does what it does, then you lose all of the
seriousness of it.
Kind of seriousness, but all the hatefulness of it. There's no hate there. It's making fun of the hate, and that's what I like about it a lot.
It is funny. I was talking to you about South Park because you do know a lot, and I just grew up with it. I was there from the very, very, very beginning. But it's cool that we have that common ground, and I would like to maybe say that that's our South Park is definitely our. If anything, if movies started coming,
you were talking about the Thanksgiving episode, or it was like Thor, right? It was like the Thanksgiving channel, and that one guy's like,
dude, come on, man, come on, like that, like you know that's.
I know exactly. Yeah, dude, it's great. It's great. I haven't. This hasn't happened once or twice. This happened a lot of times since that episode aired. So, and it's like when I hear it now, I'm like, oh, you really don't know. Like I don't know that episode, but that happens a lot. I've seen that at other things, but I'm like, you don't know how stupid you sound right now, like the kind of thing. Yeah, no, I feel you.
No, but it's one thing, and then I don't mean to pick at it, but I'm like, you really believe that, and you're trying to convince me while I'm looking at you and talking to you, and I'm using my experience too, which I'm not saying I have. I'm just saying I probably have done a little bit more things than you have done by staying in a computer all day. I was actually out doing stuff. But one thing I want to talk about with Scanner Darkly is certain things about the rotoscope and the trivia part on IMDb. With Robert Downey Jr. wrote most of his lines down on a post-it notes and scattered them around the set so he could read off them while filming a scene. The rotoscoping team simply animated over the notes to remove them from the film during post-production. That is genius.
And I think he does that on a lot of film sets because I think in Iron Man, I think, what was it, in Iron Man or the Avengers, like he would hide snacks all over the place. And then like they would catch him like eating stuff and they'd have to edit it out. Stuff like that. So he is a mini hoarder.
I will say that I do definitely look up to that guy, following the same kind of path in a way. I mean, I love watching interviews of him, and there's ones that they make fun of him where they say, where the host is kind of making fun of him, saying, "So we hear you like to change lines and dialogue," and I'm like, no wonder he's never been in a Tarantino film But what he says, though, what I know you can't. Tarantino will not let you miss a period. There's a period. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear that period. I love that. I would love to get to that point, but it's not really in my personality. But if I have to get to the point and it works with the film, maybe. I don't know. I haven't got there yet. But I will say that when they interviewed Robert Downey Jr. and it was James Lipton too when I saw this one, when he goes, I'm from a family of writers. He's a product of writers. So he's like, man, they put this on me all the time. So he knows how to write, even though he's not a writer, screenwriter. Like he's been around it. Same thing with me. Like I was put around a lot of trabajadores. So you go work with your workers. So you don't know questions asked. Like you go, you do your shit. You go, you're raising the ranch. Go do that. Like there's no questions asked. But that doesn't mean that we can't take that work ethic somewhere else. So he has that more of that education background of that, where someone like ourselves, we have that grit, but doesn't mean it doesn't translate. All it means is when you go.
You know who was also really famous about editing scripts and stuff like that?
I don't know who.
Carrie Fisher.
No way, Princess
Leia. Yeah. Yep, she sure was.
What'd she do?
I think. Let's see here. I know I can't remember exactly which films it was, but I know that she was a.
But I'm saying I'm not saying what movies. Like, what did she do? Like, what would she do?
Oh, she's like a script doctor. Like they would take the script to her, and she would.
Oh, she was a script doctor before she became Princess Leia.
No. I don't think before. I think it was after, because I think she was in the same kind of thing as RDJ. Like she was in a family of. I know her family for sure was in the movie industry. Yeah. And so she had there was a lot of screenplays that she's doctored. Actually, I kind of want to look that up now.
It's kind of funny right here with Frick when he's going to commit suicide, so he's all fancy, but that's like he even goes, it sets him back $70 because when they said it set him back $70, I was like, oh, that means he survives, because if you die, you wouldn't matter. And be honest, we haven't even really talked about any of the cast, because you don't have to talk about the cast in Slacker. We talk about the names, but in A Scanner Darkly, we do have there's no repeat offenders here. Which is really cool. But now we have RDJ and Woody Harrelson.
Wait, we haven't had Alex Jones yet?
No, it's on our other podcast, Conspiracies Against Humanity, and we just talk about all the conspiracies that Alex Jones did. It's Tuesday. No, I'm not making fun of Alex Jones. I actually waited on Alex Jones 4 times, and
to see him.
Yeah, I've waited on him, and I will say that I have nothing bad to say. That's a man's business. Do what you got to do. Maybe there's something. I'm one layer into the Alex Jones. He's done a lot of stuff. Hey, that sounds like Mike Tyson. He's done a lot of stuff, and I'm not making fun of Mike. Don't kick my ass. But what I'm saying with Alex Jones, though, I'm on that scene right here, because he even like the hair and the skinniness. Nice guy. Excuse me. But I will say that all 4 times, because I guess I work with liberals or something. Sorry. And they didn't want to wait on him. So they'd be like, you wait on him. I'm like, okay. And then I just don't really know Alex Jones really until they told me. And then I went home and Googled, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know who he was. But then once I waited on him, he was like, you don't know who I am? Like, all right, hey, what's your name? It's CJ. He's like, oh, so, I know everybody here at this restaurant. I haven't met you. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I'm Alex. And this is, he's so, okay, cool. And then, but it was more like he wanted to talk about kind of like just with the moment we're in. But one thing I noticed that he was in and out, like in and out, 45 minutes a max, like in and out. So in those 45 minutes, he would just talk to me like I'll take his order, come in, and then talk to me. But I don't know, I wasn't paying attention most of the shit. I was like, okay, dude. And I'm like, I have an exam tomorrow, so I'm just kind of trying to focus. And it's an art exam, so it's not really like a real exam. Like I got to make sure everything's in the lines and everything makes sense. And if I don't, then I got to explain myself, and that's the hard part. I don't want to have to explain myself. And then you find out as you keep doing it, you're like, oh, I want to explain myself. But we have Winona Ryder, and then Rory Cochrane from Dazed and Confused. So he's linked with Linklater. So because he's in Dazed and Confused, he's in this one. And what else has he done? I didn't really, let me see. I know he's in Empire Records. Yeah. He's in Argo as well. So how many movies has he done? Oh, by the way, let's just throw in Dazed and Confused real quick, because I do want to do a shout out to my my ACC freaking my motion graphics team. One of the cast members from Dazed and Confused, it took the class at ACC, the program that I did. I did it a year and a half before he did. But I forget his name, but I want to throw him some love, man.
It's not Wiley Wiggins, is it?
It is Wiley Wiggins. Yeah, Mitch. Yeah, Mitch. He. So I never got to as I was leaving. Yeah. Yeah. As I was leaving the program, he got into it, so I didn't cross paths with him. And it was through conversation they brought it up with me, like, you know, movies, you know. And I was like, oh yeah, the guy from Days and Confused, like, he's in our program now. He signed up, so I think he finished it. So I like to shout out that Wiley Wiggins did the motion graphics degree program, animation AAS from ACC. I don't know if he has. I'm just hoping he has. And I did that program too. So I'm gonna try to work with him. So whatever he's doing.
Well, funny story. I was looking up just a little bit on Richard Linklater on his filmography and everything, and he did, what was it, like Waking Life, and that starred Wiley Wiggins.
I don't know. I know that I haven't seen that
and
movie.
it's I think I haven't either, but it kind of looks the same as A Scanner Darkly, like kind of rotoscoped, maybe animation.
And this is in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, rotoscoping really sucked. I mean, rotoscoping's been around forever, but to make a whole movie, like, it's really hard. I mean, to make a good movie that's appealing, visually appealing.
Yeah.
So I guess it's that time to
let's do the reviews.
I know my kid over there, he's occupied with the Play-Doh, so
he's playing with Play-Doh. Let's play with our stuff.
Let's play with our stuff, because he's giving me time, so I felt kind of rushed, but there's no rush anymore.
Let's do it.
Okay, so for Slacker on IMDb, it's got a 7.1 out of 19,875.
That's fair.
C.
All right, Slacker. For Rotten Tomatoes, we have 85% on the tomato meter. All right, our critics' consensus on that is Slacker tests its shiftless thumb on the pulse of a generation with fresh filmmaking that captures the tenor of its time while establishing a benchmark for 1990s indies cinema. Good gracious, man!
But you know this.
Trouble with that.
Not my fault. That's my apologies.
I thought honestly,
I'm rubbing off on you.
I think a little bit of that, but I thought the screen froze because you were just like, and so I was like, am I just talking for no reason?
Oh, I got you.
We have an 85% tomato meter score, which is pretty. It's not surprising. I feel like critics would love this movie, especially since it's an indie movie. Now, it's a 77% audience score, which is not surprising. Some people are going to be like, "What is this? Why isn't there just not one cohesive story?" Because some people need a plot, some people need to have, But this movie flows. That's what you're looking for in a movie, is a nice flow. And if it doesn't flow, even if it does have a plot and a story, it's not going to be the best movie.
And everybody out there right now, we're going to hit you with a nice flow. So I'm going to start the beat, and my man B Jam is going to let you go. Go.
I hate that name. Don't call me that again.
Is that a real name? B Jam, is that a name?
I don't know, but I don't. I'm not going to lie. I don't like it.
I can't even beatbox. I don't know what I'm trying. Can't even do voices.
Look at the Fresh Prince over here. I'll be DJ
Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy.
So I gotta say,
let me put on my glasses.
Hold on. So I gotta sing. You're inside. And better be dark. So I gotta sing PG rap. Let's do it. Give me a beat.
I don't.
I was bobbing my head.
You know what? We're just gonna bob our heads. Whenever in post, can you please make it sound like I'm doing something? All right, and go.
Well, I kind of need a beat to get off my feet, but it's kind of not that hard when you have these cue cards. Don't want to make myself seem like I know how to rap, but you give me a few beers and I'll spit out some crap.
All right.
I don't need,
right there. No, I like that. And then, like I said, put a beat behind that, and then I'll say I did it. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. I am rhythmically challenged sometimes. I mean, not. I am. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I have a good voice. Like I could be in an opera, like like Will Ferrell and Step Brothers, like.
Oh, dude, I'm talking about that.
That's about, I don't even know what it says. Why did it pop up playing music ? On my end.
No, we don't want to get in trouble here now, do we? I thought it
says set up professional audio in audio settings. So apparently they thought that was good enough to question. Maybe I'm onto something. So, do you have anything saying?
I gotta say that if you just kind of quoted Step Brothers in a way, but he when Will Ferrell does the scene to John C. Reilly, I have a pretty good voice. Let's give him something to talk about.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's give them something to talk about.
It's
Let's give
angels.
them something to talk about. How about love, love, love? You know?
Hey, that's
So
why it says that you've been practicing. That's good.
I practiced that part. Yeah.
Dude, man, that was
that in Tennessee was you're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey.
oh man.
I sound better in the shower because I open the
Do you
back.
have any Michael McDonald on you?
No, I don't
No,
think so. Do
no
I?
Michael McDonald. No, I'm talking about in your repertoire and your voice.
No.
Also,
I'll look him up. See what I can find.
I have Michael Bolton stuck in my head.
You mean that ass clown?
Well, no, I
Let's see.
was not the singer, not Michael Bolton, not the guy that asshole. Yeah, it was a cool name till I was 12, and that asshole became famous.
So segue into our next set of movies. We're going to be
right.
doing Office Space and Idiocracy.
There we go.
That's
right. It's the proof of the right. It's on the.
You
proof
brought
of
up
the pudding.
Michael. Yeah, you brought up Michael Bolton. There you go. So no, let's give our ratings.
Sorry about that. We went. This is a cool little tangent. We're being serious. Now we're not. Now we're back. I will say with the 77 and serious, being super serial. I'll say that at the 85%. With 39 views, like it's not going to be that much for the tomato meter.
Yeah.
And then the audience, the audience with 10,000. It's like I said, I don't want to say that I'm a tomato meter or an audience score guy, but I think I wrote something here that I think we'll find out right after his. But hold on. So I thought maybe this for the generation that's writing this for the tomato meter might be too slow for someone, maybe someone my age and younger. The audience score, I couldn't be anywhere. I honestly think Slacker, just because I can't help it, man. This is gonna be like a 15. I grew up with this movie, and not grew up like in. I grew up when I was a kid. And I saw it. I'm talking about like I grew up in the city that this movie was made that no longer really exists here, which is like the time is changing. It happens all the time. We wouldn't be here right now if times didn't change. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. So it happens. I'm just getting older. That's all it is. We're all getting older.
Yep.
And but. I got a 13. I also, when I first started taking my motion graphics classes at ACC, Austin Community College back in the day, they had about like 8 campuses, and all campuses had a different strength, I guess you would say. So like if you wanted to do more of the like a hands-on, like HVAC, you want to learn carpentry, you want to go do something like electrics or something, you go to the Riverside campus because that's where their focus was at. And then if you wanted to be more like academic, you go to the Rio Grande, campus, and they're more. They have like the sign language. They have more like literature. They have more kind of like that's what they. I don't. Now I'm thinking about it. Why did they do it like that? I don't know. But like other campuses around like Pinnacle had more high school kids in it, so it's more dual credit. But that's way up in like BKs and Westlake area. And then there was Ridge. What's it called? ACC Ridgeview, I believe it was called. I can't believe I forgot it. But the ACC campus there, they had their animation and they had their film. And I did take film classes. I didn't get my film degree though, but they have their film area, and in that area where it's all together, they have a clipping of a newspaper when it has Richard Linklater on it. And they kind of give his little background story about it, how he went to the oil field, didn't like doing it, saved up some money, wanted to do camera work, and started doing that. And it's very inspiring because the article is written pretty. I was looking for it. I don't know exactly where I have it, but I have that picture. I took a picture of it. I need to print it out. But it's really cool to see because it's like it shows me. And that's why I'm very proudful of a lot of things I do. Like it's nothing to do where I'm bragging or anything. It's just like, dude, he went through that school and look what he did, and now it's my turn to kind of get out of. See, if this is as far as it goes, as far as I go. But it's pretty cool that he, I'm walking the same halls. To me, it's a big deal. Like, like because those halls, you can't walk on them anymore. Like, where else are you supposed to find some inspiration? But this is what I did like on his Wikipedia page, which let's take it for whatever. Like my friend Ben likes to say, because he's right. Take it for whatever it is. Anybody can write this thing. But this is pretty cool. This is how Texas he is. Linklater was born in Houston, Texas, the son of Diane Margaret, who taught at Sam Houston State University and Charles W. Linklater III attended Huntsville High School in Huntsville, Texas, during grades 9 through 11. Now, the reason that's a big deal for me, Huntsville, Texas. You know about Huntsville, Texas, right?
What about it?
It's just always a giant jail and a
Oh
college.
yeah. I do know that.
It's
yes.
right outside of College Station, or College Station. If you ever go to College Station, go walk into Bryan and see how they treat you. Well, if you come from Bryan, they won't like you in College Station. Sorry, just talking. He attended. They're saying like he's from that kind of area, and that's it's like heart of Texas right there, or close to it. And it says here, just throw this out because we saw him give your score, but it says he enrolled in Austin Community College in the fall of 1984 to study film. I was born in 84, so I'm just going more conspiracy with this. I'm trying to make my own conspiracy view, kind of. It's like not conspiracy, but like a connection here. So later on, when CJ was talking about his podcast, he mentioned this. But what's your score? What you got? What you got, big dog?
12. I'm giving it a 12. It's a movie that I definitely would recommend to anybody who enjoys just film. All right, if you are looking for film, this is what I would recommend to you. But what I think it's for everybody, no. If and that's what I try to base the score off of just a little bit, is like, if I would recommend this movie to everybody, it's going to get a 13. If I would recommend this movie to almost everybody, I would. If you live in Texas, watch this movie. If you have if you like a lot of conspiracy theories, watch this movie. It's going to make your mind soar, dude. Even if you like politics, you know what? This is a 13. I changed it. This is a 13 all the day.
Yeah, it's too much into it, man.
It's too much. There's too much that there's enough in here to where if there is somebody can find something in any part of this movie. So 13, plain and simple.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Were you gonna say this is a what? 13?
Oh no. Yeah. It's this is a 13.
I'll say that.
Also, one question: at the end of the movie, was that just a prostitute that he picked up?
Nah, dude. It's just it's just the way it was, man. Hey, you do what I do, and you hang out like me. But I don't. You don't have to like sleep with each other all the time. They did, but kind of just hang out.
I was just curious.
I think she's just one of the scene people. That was one of the funny.
You'd like to think so. That's what your face says, but now you're kind of like,
well, because when you not the prostitute part, not the part.
At night. She's a lady of the night, CJ.
Well, you're just judging there, brother. I gotta call you out on that, because I have picked up a girl and I didn't pay for that. It was just like, yo. So that's why I'm thinking like you're right.
She was just leaning up against the wall.
No,
let's.
No,
because I mean, maybe I missed it, but I didn't see any other context besides he just pulled up and then she came.
Okay,
in the car.
I'll tell you this one story,
and sounds like a prostitute to me.
Let me tell you this real quick, because this is an Austin thing. That's how it kind of was. So there was a gay bar called Kiss and Fly, and when you would leave, they would kind of kick you out. And it's right off the side of the gay strip, so you it was a kind of a 50-50 bar, gay people, straight people going there. And when I would leave that bar, you'd always like 15 minutes after, people would be like, "Where's the after party at?" Or you just kind of hang out. And one time I met a beautiful girl that was just sitting there, and she looked at me and she says, "Man, if you weren't gay, I'd take you home." And I'm like, good thing for me, I'm not gay. And that's the conversation. And now we're friends now. It's kind of cool that social media keeps you linked. But just like talking to her and getting to know her, she's pretty cool. Over the years, it's like she's like I mean. That's just because I'm linked to her because of that. But outside of that, like, it would have just been that, and that would have been it. But it's kind of funny how, like, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Because I was like in my early 20s when you hang out like that. But I'm like getting closer to 40, so I'm like,
yeah. And it looks like Richard Linklater was 30 whenever Slacker came out.
Was he 30?
He was like 20 he was born in 60.
Yeah, he's my dad's age. Yeah. That's what I noticed. I was like, one thing I didn't know is he was my dad's age. So he was a little older, because so now you find out that we gotta go, but real quick, you find out like Clerks is connected through this, because he said that Kevin Smith, he says, I saw what Richard Linklater was able to do. So Clerks is very familiar, very filled to it. So now I understand why Robert Rodriguez is El Mariachi and Reservoir Dogs by Quentin Tarantino, why they're so important. See, we've been accustomed to just watching these big budget movies so we could talk crap about them. We don't really know how hard they are to make. So when you really see Mariachi and when you watch Mariachi, you think Rodriguez like, dude, you did this on your own. you know. And then when you watch Reservoir Dogs, you realize that's another level of thinking plus the budget. But I feel like Richard Linklater was the one that knocked the door open for them. They'd be like this way. So maybe he was the older guy because these guys were way younger.
Yeah.
It was like they're like
look at what you can do. Is almost like this is what I can do. Do something better.
Yeah. So it's kind of darkly what you got.
Yeah. So let's look at IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes real quick. You want to do IMDb?
I will do IMDb. Let's see real quick. I got a guy right here. I got a caller right here. Hey caller, how's it going? I need to help out. I'll get on that IMDb. I'm gonna pause it and then we'll unpause.
You know what? I'll do it for right now. So A Scanner Darkly on IMDb is going to have a 7.1 out of 106,765 reviews. All right. And for A Scanner Darkly, the critics' conscience or consensus, a faithful adaptation of Philip K. Dick's novel, A Scanner Darkly takes the viewer on a visual and mind-blowing journey into the author's conception of a drug-addled and politically unstable world. All right. That pretty much, sums it up. For our tomato meter on A Scanner Darkly, we're going to have a 67% out of 187 reviews. Honestly, not too surprising. Audience score, though, out of 100,000 plus reviews is going to have a 74%.
And this is sorry.
I went ahead and just did the review for IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. So,
sweet. So
so 67% tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, and then the audience score is going to be 74%, which I feel like that's fair. Well, maybe not so much on the critics' views. I figured it would be higher. I figured it'd be closer to 80, just because of the rotoscoping for the, just the way the movie was told and how it was done. I would figure it would have gotten a higher score from the critics. But, I mean, the audience score is about on par with what I would think. This movie's not going to be for everybody. But I feel like if you had, and if you had a drug problem, you watch this movie, you'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It does. It does. But what I'll say is with the tomato meter, what you just said about the rotoscoping and all that, I think those are the critics' consensus. I don't think they think about that stuff.
No.
I don't think they think about that the time it takes to put in. I don't think they think about all that stuff at all. And so a 67, I think it's fair for this movie. A 74 for the audience score, I think it's fair. I think this is too deep. I think this movie is way above people's heads. Because even like with my addictions and shit like that, following this movie to me, like it was too much for me too. I was like, oh shit. Okay, are they doing this? Like we're trying to break down right now. Are we getting to this part? How do we?
What is real?
Yeah,
that's what you're looking at the end of this movie. And that's.
And that's why I'm happy I bought it, because now I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I have this movie now, hard copy and digital, so I'm just gonna keep. It's one of those. I need to have a Richard Linklater in my collection. I'm sorry, I don't. I mean, I do. I have Dazed and Confused, but that's Dazed and you gotta have that one. But I mean, even like that, he did Bernie. I was like, oh my god, I forgot he did Bernie. So with my score for this, and being something that this falls like, I mean, as everything as a filmmaker, as the issues on substance abuse and all that shit. I'll say for my score, it's definitely like a 12, maybe a 13, my score. But if I were to recommend, like you said, some people, they'd probably give it a 9, a 10. I think, man, for audience, if you're used to just watching TikTok videos, I'm not trying to make fun of people like that, or Snapchat or Vine, like I think to actually sit and watch A Scanner Darkly and try to get all that, it'd be like someone be like, hey, a-hole, why are you making me watch this movie? It doesn't make it. He's like, no, like I'm not making you, but this is what I love about Side by Side. It shows our point of view on it and why. And I think it's just another journey. This is definitely a filmmaker's. Richard Linklater is a filmmaker's guy. He's not making a film really to make a film. He's making a film because he's making a film because he wants to make it a film. He's not making a film because of paychecks making him make a film. Yeah. And we're also learning from him and we're growing. I don't know about anybody else that's listening, but I am as a filmmaker. I know I'm definitely doing that. Man, so your score's a 13 as well?
It's going to be a 12.
12. So we're like at 12.5.
Yeah, a hard 12 for sure. Just because, like, it was my reasoning before on Slacker, but there would be some people I'd be like, you probably wouldn't like this. Whereas Slacker, I think that anybody can find something.
Yeah, I could.
But
I guess.
and this is an adaptation of a novel of a guy who really was into a lot of not sci-fi, but like just different kinds of thinking.
But you don't think with all the animation nowadays and all the cartoon, you don't think that people would really get Scanner Darkly? Or is it too conspiracy theory? You think?
It's not even that. It's too. It's not even. I mean, they could appreciate the animation and everything, but it's just. It's not even the conspiracy theory part. I think it's just hard to follow. You have 3 different names for one character. I mean,
it's complicated.
It's a lot to unpack in an hour and 40 minutes. And hell, I mean, like I said, I've rewatched it maybe 3 times in the past day, and I'm catching new stuff every time. Which that's what you want in a movie. You want to be able to catch new things. You want it to feel new, and you want it to feel fresh. But like I said, I'm giving this movie a 12 simply because I feel, like I said, there may be somebody that I know and be like, what the hell is this? Like what is this?
Yeah. Well, put it this way. I'm not going to recommend a movie to somebody that doesn't know about movies, because these two would be hard for them.
Yeah. Slacker, I would, even if you didn't know movies, you could watch Slacker and be like, okay, it's a day in the life. Scanner Darkly is it's
out there, man. It's way out there, and I think Scanner Darkly just hits me on so many levels. It's easy for me to say that. Man, there is a lot of material to cover. This is just, I mean, this is also like the waiting. I just feel like
we very well may need to revisit a Scanner Darkly later on. And Slacker too. I feel like there was a lot of things that we might have missed or could have covered on both these films. But like I said, we try to just limit it. That way it's easier to consume, but yeah, no, I definitely think we will have to do a repeat offender side by side and have these two on there, that's just my thought. But yeah, man, what are you thinking for our next venture?
Well, because we have a lot, and we can easily spin off this. Because I'm real, like, there's so many ways. I want to talk about one thing. I am gonna pause it real quick, so you don't have to talk, because he's gonna. I'm gonna take about 5 minutes. I'm recording. Now he just wanted to hug. I got him. He just wanted a hug. So you see.
So you said there's a lot of avenues we can go down.
Yeah, there is
next week.
And I wanted to tell you something that I caught on to this, where I was like, what? So I've heard of these movies. I haven't seen them. And I'm not gonna say that it's not, because, like I said, I've always been aware of him, Richard Linklater. I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, I'm his biggest fan. I'm just saying that like as we've been doing this podcast, I'm noticing more and more that movies that I remember enjoying or hearing at one time. Because let's face it, I'm not talking about politics, and if I get into it with another person online in politics, it's all it's gonna do is make me do another podcast, start another one. But one thing I noticed was he did like a series of movies with Ethan Hawke.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkman.
Before Sunrise, before Sunset, and before something else.
Something like that. So,
and it was
Julie
Arquette too. Patricia Arquette. I think she was in it. That's why they're both in Boyhood.
Yeah. So yeah, because I know they're all kind of connected. Now that's kind of like the artist part of his head to kind of think about that. Now check this out. I found something out about our boy Richard Linklater. Did you know that he has an 100% tomato meter score and a 93 audio movie? He has a 100% movie.
School of Rock?
No, I didn't even hit that one.
Which one is it?
No, I mean, I brought up those 3 movies right here for a reason. I've never seen Before Sunrise, and it's got 100%.
I think it's just really good storytelling. It's a not a rom-com, but you know what I'm saying. It's
Have you seen it?
No, but I've read about it.
So let me tell you, that's what I was about to say. So thank you. You just proved what. Okay, so I wrote down. Richard Linklater has a 100% scored movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Now I can officially say that I am a critic for not seeing Before Sunrise and saying it's not 100%. So I'm already could tell like this is 100% movie. Like I'm gonna fall in love with it. It's gonna be one of my top 10 movies by watching it. If it's by opposed, I mean, according to the, so I'm probably gonna have to watch this movie, or maybe take a look at the series and see maybe I can get some material from writing or something from Richard Linklater.
There's the third one too. There's three of them.
Yeah,
And the third one was recent, like not recent, but like in 2000.
not too long ago. Yeah, not too long
Oh,
ago.
before midnight, 2013. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then the
So
one before sunset, 2004, and then before sunrise, 95.
so yeah, so I mean he's got those movies in there, but I was just like, wow, if we, I don't know who else have we done that has a 100% movie. I was doing research on him and I found that.
Oh, never mind. It wasn't Patricia Arquette. I apologize. It's somebody else.
Yeah, it was it was the name.
Julie Depley, like you said. My bad.
So yeah, here it is. So what I was thinking is, do we want to spin off of Scanner Darkly? Because we can't take anything off of Slacker unless Richard Linklater. And I'm like, oh, we already did him. We got to wait a little bit. So I was thinking we could do a Woody Harrelson movie, another Keanu Reeves movie, maybe a Winona Ryder movie. But then we also have Mr. RDJ. And eventually we're gonna have to come across the MCU, but I don't think we should do an MCU or RGD right now.
Wait. Actually, I'm gonna look something up real quick, and then if this is still if it's still on here, then I have an idea of where we're gonna go.
All right, dude. Because even Clerks on Rotten Tomatoes.
We're going RDJ.
All right. Okay,
because I got what we're gonna do.
All right, you do it. Doing? Give it to me, sir.
Doolittle.
I have not seen.
And you know what else we're gonna do? We're gonna go back to Eddie Murphy, bro. We're doing two Doolittles. We're gonna compare the Doolittles.
You want to do the? Wait, we already did. Now see, okay, so now we already did Dr. Doolittle.
No, we did Nutty Professor.
I did Dr. Doolittle on my own. See, that's why you can't have a third one. I screwed it up. Do you want to do the Robert? Well, see, okay, now put it this way. I can't do my boy like okay. I can't do my boy like that though.
But no, what we could do is you and I have both heard not good things about Doolittle. So if we watch it, we find what's good. Because we're here to review movies. I mean, this is my thought, but like I said, we can go a different direction if you like. Winona Ryder, we can go down that path. I mean, we have Woody Harrelson. I mean, dude,
I'm.
But another one we could do with RDJ is, we could do Tropic Thunder and then find another Ben Stiller movie. I mean, Cable Guy. We could do that. We could go from RDJ and then tie in Ben Stiller as a director.
I mean, no. Wait. It's just like I'm cool with that. I'm actually cool. I mean, I was like I mean, I can't say no because you're right. You're right. You said that we've heard bad things, and I don't really want to introduce side by side like that. But if it's like a defense court or something like something we
maybe one of us loves it, one of us doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get you're right. You're right, bud. You okay? See, he heard me talking about RDJ, and it's my fault. My bad. Because I'm
where is he?
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right because Dr. Doolittle, I did it. You didn't do it. But I would just rewatch it again. That's all.
But like I said, there's a lot of routes we can go. If we're going RDJ,
there's a lot.
Me personally, like I said, that was one thing that I was kind of thinking about. I was like, I haven't seen Doolittle. I'd like to give it a chance, all that other stuff. But RDJ, dude, like Tropic Thunder. I mean, that was right at the cusp of Iron Man. And then, like I said, we could do a directed by Ben Stiller, and I mean, we got. But that'd be cool. You're right. This would be another co-star. But I'm noticing something about RDJ that it is the MCU we're going to focus on with him because a lot of the other stuff I'd want to introduce you to stuff that he hasn't done. So I'm saying we're going to do the man that's kind of they're both on fire right now, but let's do Keanu Reeves. You want to?
Yeah, let's do Keanu Reeves. We're
doing John Wick 1 and 2. As simple as that.
I'm cool with that.
Are you really?
I'm cool with that. I have seen John Wick 1. I haven't seen 2.
Okay.
And I haven't seen 3.
Okay.
but the only thing is side by
No,
side is
I want to do two different. I
yeah.
mean,
That's what
don't
I'm
get me
saying.
wrong. I was totally joking there, and I
You said,
appreciate you jumping on board so fast because those are fantastic movies. But John Wick, I want to do.
dude,
For sure.
I would do John Wick and Speed, or John Wick, like seeing his earlier stuff. Because remember, we're dissecting time as well. I'm finding out.
You
I
know what
wouldn't.
movie I haven't seen that has Keanu Reeves in it, and you may be like, oh my god, you haven't seen that? Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh, dude, yes, let's do that. I could totally
Okay.
do Johnny Mnemonic. Oh, I love that movie. Dolph
And this is
Lundgren,
a
you got Henry Rollins. What's
this is a bonus because I may actually get Kenya to watch these movies with me because she has a thing for Keanu Reeves.
I have a thing for Keanu Reeves, dude. It's not you have a thing for Keanu Reeves. It's not
Yeah,
a
I do.
it's not a it's like I can't. What am I gonna
No,
do? Get mad? Get mad? I can't. Everybody does.
or I mean, we could do the one that you co-starred in with Keanu Reeves,
Which one was that one?
Devil's Advocate.
That was okay. Oh no! Yeah, you gotta find her. Ah! You know what, dude? I love that you picked Johnny Mnemonic, man. I love how I came into that one. Sorry, everybody. I'm a little too sensitive about the RG but RG Robert Downey RDJ.
We'll circle back to him. I mean,
We'll circle back, but Keanu, and you're right. So we're gonna do John Wick. Oh, sorry, we're gonna do Johnny Mnemonic and John Wick. Dude, this is Johnny Mnemonic. You. Oh yes,
Okay.
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. I have seen a more recent Keanu Reeves movie that was called Knock Knock. That is a psychological thriller.
I haven't seen it, but it's the one with the girls, right? Where they
Yes, and the soft-spoken Keanu Reeves is very believable, but the loud and mean Keanu Reeves just comes across. He's a great actor, but it just doesn't feel genuine. I don't know why.
he naturally can't do it. Like he has to act.
It's not even that. I mean, because he's a badass in John Wick. It's you know what I'm saying. It's just it's not that he can't act. It's just he can't because he's just like you fucking bitches. You know, it it feels like he knows he needs to say the words. He just can't feel them. You know, and I feel like he's one of those actors that he needs to feel. Like
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. No, you're right, because he's a real actor. Like, and I see people. I know. I said that with Brian O'Halloran. I said, "Yeah, you're an actor," but I meant to say was like he is an actor, but he's like an actor. Like he's in the scene. He's making the moment. He's not like a guy on the front of the camera. Was I was trying to say, but it didn't come out like that.
But see, there are people that shit on Keanu Reeves saying that he can't act and stuff like that. You know, he was in the Matrix and he was Neo and he doesn't have any lines or anything. And even John Wick, it's not a really dialogue heavy movie. It's more of an action movie. But A Scanner Darkly, are you kidding me? That is some of the best damn acting I have seen. And I think it's just casting Keanu Reeves in a role that is good for him. A role that he can portray, because in Knock Knock, I mean, it's a guy who starts off very nice and I have a family and all this other stuff, and then he has these two girls and they just start seducing him and then they try to frame him, and it just like it's almost like he's betraying himself in that movie. And you feel his pain, but it comes across almost as corny instead of
it's too genuine for the genre, for the movie, you think? Like it's
he's too much of a genuine person to, you know what I'm saying? You don't feel like he's fake, and that's the role he has to play.
It doesn't translate well.
It doesn't.
I'll tell you, John Mnemonic, dude. The reason when you said that, I was like, hell yeah, because at first I thought you meant the one what's it called? No, I forgot that movie's called. There's this one movie with him and it's a big famous actress, and they do where they leave the letters in the mailbox, and it's
that's
I haven't seen it.
I was gonna say Susan Sarandon. I've seen it. It's
whatever it's called.
Miss Congeniality, dude.
There you go. No, I would say Johnny Mnemonic. I love Miss Congeniality.
What is her name, dude?
Oh, is it Sandra Bullock?
Sandra fucking thank you. Yes. Good God Almighty!
I forgot what this movie is called, but I mean, I also
it's the Lake House. That's
Lake House. There you go. Something, I thought you were gonna suggest that one and John Wick, and we could really go. But the reason I like Johnny Mnemonic is because, dude, like this movie, I saw it so many times as a kid. I didn't see the theater, but we'll get to it. But I saw it so many times as a kid that I'm happy to see it now as an adult, because I remember I enjoyed it so much, but I didn't know. I just know it was a cool action movie. There was a lot behind it.
I can't wait to tell Kenya that we're doing Keanu Reeves. I'm sorry, it just came across my head again.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Johnny Mnemonic is I'm really into, like, I want to know the story more now. I can understand and comprehend, and I have a background in this. So, but yeah, let's we've been talking for a minute. It was one of our own Texas guys, so we usually go a little longer with these guys. But yeah, we're moving on to Keanu Reeves. So thank you for listening to Side by Side. We just finished doing Richard Linklater. We did his 1990 movie Slacker. And we also did his 2006 movie, A Scanner Darkly. I was calling it Scanner Darkly, A Scanner Darkly. And now we are moving on, because of that, we're moving on to our ageless friend, Keanu Reeves. And we will be doing Johnny Mnemonic and John Wick, which I didn't realize that's Johnny John.
Oh, we're doing the Johnny John side by side.
Johnny John. Yeah.
Johnny John.
All right. Well,
we're doing the mnemonic Wick.
Oh, you getting them gears turning, brother. Look at you, dude. I'm so happy.
Shout out to Keanu Reeves. I know you're listening, because I feel like you would totally support us if you knew that we were out here. And I just want to say that my fiance loves you, and she would love to meet you. You're totally invited to our wedding. And yeah, I just wanted to end with that.
Hey, you threw an invite out there, man. As soon as he hears it, yeah, you know,
you know, and if we end up deciding just to go to Vegas to get married, come on to Vegas. You could be the witness, and that would blow her mind.
All right, Keanu, we'll be expecting you. We don't know exactly.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, Keanu, and we'll wait for you. Yeah, you're definitely worth the wait. So, yeah. Anything else, man? Any other invites?
You can come too if you want. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm expecting an email invitation to make it official. It's gonna be
a Facebook invitation.
Facebook graph.
If you can make it. Yeah.
It doesn't count as I'm in a Facebook group messenger, so I can show off to people. But we're gonna leave it there. But yeah.
Thank you for coming in to Side by Side.
This world does exist.
Yes,
this world exists. So
reality,
come and hang out with us.
Yeah, reality is real. This is CJ Robles.
And I'm Ben Garrett.
And you have a beautiful evening, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.